All right, are we recording?
We've been recording, baby.
All right, so this week we're going to start with something different.
Oh, God.
This week we're going to start with something different.
Go ahead, let's hear
This
it.
wasn't approved.
So normally we sing into our episodes and it's become quite popular. But this week we're going to play a game.
Oh, God.
And this game, the listeners can play along with as well.
Can they? But
They can.
But we can't hear them.
They can reply. They can reply in the comments.
Okay.
But the game is dependent on you two replying quickly.
Okay.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
The game is called Who Said It?
All right.
Prince Philip or Donald Trump?
Oh, lovely. I'm all ears.
Are you ready to go?
Yeah, go on.
Quote, at a dinner party in 2004, screw the table plan, give me my dinner.
Prince Philip.
Trump.
Prince Philip.
Ha! Ding, ding, ding.
The concept of shaking hands is absolutely terrible, and statistically, I've been proven right.
Donald Trump. Small hands.
Donald Trump.
Trump.
Hey! 2 for 2, baby.
Commenting on a family member's house in 1986, quote, it looks like a tart's bedroom.
Philip.
Yeah.
Philip.
Man like Phil.
Philip. At a conference of Jewish people, quote, I'm a negotiator like you people.
Trump.
Trump.
That was Trump indeed.
Boom.
On a visit to Canada, quote, I declare this thing open, whatever it is.
That's Trump again.
Trump.
That's Philip.
Oh!
Last one, on a visit to Scotland, quote, British women can't cook.
That's definitely Prince Phil.
That's Trump.
That's Prince Philip.
Jesus.
That's it.
He said British women can't cook.
British women can't
the
cook.
shade.
Why
you imagine?
is he gunning for Lizzie like that, man? Lizzie ain't chopping it up in the kitchen.
Lizzie
I don't
probably-
think she is cooking.
She ain't,
today.
got, she ain't Steph Curry with the pot.
No, I don't
No?
think so.
She ain't Steph Curry with the pot boy.
She's opening letters, bro.
Bro,
And
wait,
she's riding around in a Range Rover.
you don't
got
reckon,
time.
you don't
In a
reckon,
Range
cooking.
Rover.
you don't reckon Lizzie's like done one scrambled egg in life, just like in
Nah,
life.
Maybe
What,
it's
the
like an
birthday
experience. Like she gets scheduled in like an experience.
Well, this is how the peasants live.
Yeah.
Someone comes into her house to teach her how to do it. It's like a day experience.
So you get the salt, you get the. Oh yeah, and you get this spatula looking thing, and you
Turn on the cooker first.
Chap it.
yeah.
Chap it.
If I'm allowed to say
Chap it.
that, Mom,
Chap it.
Your
Chap it.
Highness.
And the darker shaded people tend to have it well done.
What?
How do you guys like your steaks, by the way?
My
Steaks?
steaks, medium rare.
Medium rare.
Ooh. No, just between rare and medium rare.
I'm a medium rare.
No, that's kind of two done. You have it à point, right?
No, medium rare or medium. There's a subtle
Yeah,
difference.
medium
between the two.
is-
I'm either medium or medium.
Medium
So what do you like?
ridiculous.
How do you have yours?
Between rare and medium rare.
Oh, you go rare.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, shit.
Ain't that more like
Mediums-
blue, sort of?
No.
You don't go blue?
No, absolutely not. That's
not?
because I value my intestines.
What do you mean?
That's the quickest way to shit your stomach out is by eating a raw steak. I'm not doing
I
that.
disagree.
But you have your steak medium, so the fuck do you know
Yeah, but
about
I've
raw
had
meat?
blue.
I feel like blue takes a longer time to like digest.
Oh, really?
Yeah, sauce. I remember I went to Paris once and I went to, what's the fucking baked burger place? Hippopotamus.
Yeah. Big
I
up there. Yeah,
saw
yeah.
someone order a steak hash with like the raw egg on top and he threw up on my table. That's some nasty shit. Man. I just started tucking into that. Mincemeat.
You don't like the tartare with the egg on it?
No chance.
No?
Keep that away from my table.
Right. Yeah, I feel at my most bougie when I'm eating one of them bad boys.
Yeah,
But it's not even
100%.
cooked, bro. Man, it's like going Tesco's and tucking into the freezer.
I know.
That's mad chat.
It's nice though.
Funny the homies could see me now. That's all I'm thinking when I'm eating the tartare with the egg on it.
Elevated.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Anyway, I'm going to do a proper intro this time.
Go on.
To be honest, there's no anticlimax. You guys are looking at me like with like a panic.
Yeah, no,
or
we're
worry,
waiting.
you know,
We've
just,
got
just,
with
I'm just going to offer
expectation.
like a really good, like a proper good.
Are we not going to do the thing? We've got to do the thing.
Oh. This
Good. And
terribly. Is that like our thing now?
I think it is our thing.
Episode
14.
Oh, my days.
Quatorze.
14.
Did I say quatorze?
You said quattros. That sounds like a duck.
My French is poor.
Yeah, it's not ideal.
It's poor.
It's not ideal. You have to learn.
How are you, gentlemen?
We're all right. We could do this episode
okay,
in French,
man.
to be fair, Xavier. We could just fuck Rich, cut him out.
Yeah, it's fine.
No, that'd be rude though.
On peut organiser entre les deux,
C'est ça.
continuer.
You know what? Let's keep Richard because he's in the edits. So
It's true. He wouldn't know what to edit out.
yeah, no,
That's true.
She chatted hella shit about man.
That's
Spend an
true.
hour just chatting about him. People are like, well, kind of flows.
No, that's true. But anyway, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, good day. You are listening to This Good and Terribly with your boys, Abs, Johnny, Zavi. And you know what it is. But if you don't, we discuss the topics that are at the heart of our culture. No topic is too big. No topic is too small.
That's right.
We believe in balanced conversation, balanced discourse over here, baby.
We're all about the balance.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is the beauty of what we do.
I know that's right.
So long live balance and long live the range. Zavi, man.
Long live the range indeed.
Zavi, we got to start with you, bruv.
Ha.
We were supposed to record this thing 4 hours ago.
Yes.
What the fuck?
Happened.
What happened?
Oh, just traffic.
It's Savvy's world,
Oh.
and we all just live in it, right? That's how this works.
Oh, it's just traffic. It's Blackwall Tunnel's world, and we're just all fucked. That's all.
Me and Johnny were just sitting here like having to talk to each other. It was mad weird.
Yeah, proper
4
weird, innit?
hours.
Just
Just
4
sitting
hours
there.
just like talking
That's
about.
just podding,
No, I'm
innit?
joking, I'm joking.
Just
That's that
chatting
podding.
shit.
Just podding, like just podding without
Yeah, no,
hitting
it's just,
record.
yeah, it just went left and left, and every time I went left, there was just more traffic.
But are you okay though, man?
Yeah, I'm alright, man. It's been a long day, but I'm all
Listeners,
good.
yes, he is wearing the foam runners by
Yes,
Yeezy.
fucking
Yes,
hell.
he is.
And Drake's album's still not out yet.
Certified Lover Boy still not out.
But
I've been
he's got
listening to
one of the
that.
things though.
That What's Next song is like my hype song every day now.
Really,
Yeah,
it hasn't really grown on me yet.
I love that song. You know me, I like arrogant rap Drake. I don't like singy, songy, moist
Well, you say this,
Drake.
but then when I mentioned AJ Tracy's new song,
Don't like it.
you said it reminds you of Drake.
Yeah.
But then it sounded like you said it in a tone where like you didn't like the arrogant Drake.
No, I don't. I like it when Drake does the arrogant Drake. I don't like it when other people copy Drake doing the arrogant Drake. Feel me?
Yeah.
We've got a Drake. We don't need a Drake from.
We have a
definitely
Drake.
don't
Do
need
you hear
more
that?
Drake.
You hear that?
From
We've
Ladbroke.
got a Drake.
We've got there's
You
definitely
hear that? We've
enough
got a
Drake.
Drake.
We don't need more Drake.
From Ladbroke Grove, no less.
He's a yid though, so big up
All
AJ
right, well,
Tracy.
Is he?
congratulations.
Yeah.
Shout out to our listeners.
No, he's not Jewish. He's a Tottenham fan.
Okay.
I was going to shout out the listeners. Shout out to the listeners. Spotify, SoundCloud, YouTube, Apple Podcasts. We appreciate you.
Yes, we do.
We love you.
Yes, we do.
You have made this fucking fun so far.
Yes, you have.
So shout out to all the people who like pink, because we do a lot of pink over
do a lot
here.
of pink.
If you don't like pink, I appreciate you even more because we do use it a lot. Remember to hit subscribe, hit follow, comment, tell us how you feel. We love it when you do that. We love it even more when you disagree with us. Each one teach one and all that. Mm-hmm. Know what I mean? Mm-hmm. All right, Zav. Johnny, how are you, bruv?
I'm alright, man. I'm trying to go progressively more and more high pitched since you called me out on it last week.
Yeah, bruv.
Let me clear my throat. Just getting on with it. Fuck knows. I mean, like, what is there to do? We're at the cusp of freedom.
Yeah, by the time that you listeners get this, or at least our UK listeners, will be able to go out into an outdoor drinking area.
I know, that's right.
And finger bang in the corner.
That's what's up.
Hey?
That's what's up. Although we have been allowed to finger bang in parks for the last 2 weeks.
Ooh,
So that's
true.
That's what I've been doing.
Park bench finger bang.
The old
To be
school.
honest, that's my expertise.
The old school.
Yeah.
It went the tried and tested.
Swear down.
I've been kicking ball. Been allowed to do that. Been kicking ball for the
We
last
saw
few
the
weeks.
pictures. We saw the pictures.
Got back into boxing.
Dare I say you almost looked accomplished on that football pitch.
There's levels to the thing, innit?
Fair play. And then boxing. Johnny's been on the posting this week. You seen the content?
Yeah, well, obviously we're trying to be like Xavi. That was the feedback that we all need to be more like Xavi.
Mr. Influenza himself.
We need to be more influential. We need to be more influential. So we're trying to be more present pundigram, trying to share more aspects of our life. And there obviously isn't much depth to my character beyond playing sports. So I thought I'd share what I've got. And here we are.
My idea of content this week was a sad picture of my dad. Sorry, guys. I'm not really on this content thing right now, but RIP my dad. It was a
Rest
year
in peace,
anniversary
uncle.
since his
RIP,
death.
man.
We miss you. We love you. But yeah, man.
That's what's up. I don't know. I've just been getting battered and playing sports.
Yeah, no.
Fuck else is there to do?
Boxing. I think I'm going to join you.
Yeah,
So I've
come
been
back
wanting
in.
to do it for time, but I just really haven't got around to it because, yeah.
I like fighting short guys still.
I mean, I'm 6'4", so I don't know why you're.
Well, do you like
I don't
just
know why
like,
you're
do you
directing that at me.
Do you like do like a hammer a hammer punch at the top
Yeah,
of the head.
you're actually not allowed.
Did you see the
You're actually
content?
not allowed to do that.
Did you see the content? The boxing
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
I don't know if I feature high up enough in his algorithms.
Yeah, you never know what's going to hit Zav's algorithm.
You have to DM Zav.
Yeah, exactly. Did you see my post?
Otherwise, like, you need to have a minimum
No,
of
I see you
40,000
guys.
followers to appear on his feed.
Yeah.
No, what do you mean? I interact with you guys the most. So like,
you
Interact.
sure?
You hear what he said? You see, I interact with you, man, like with fans. Can you
Yeah.
imagine,
no, like
it's
I
about a
engage
dickhead
with
fan.
you.
Well, I mean,
I engage.
Engage
with you.
with
thankfully he didn't say he engaged. I was going to say, I engage with you guys.
Bro, it's tough.
That's proper
It
dumb.
is tough being local when certain men are.
If you want to know just how global man is right now, I'm doing this podcast, currently doing a clink. You hear that sound? These are Zavi art inscribed silver chopsticks.
Not even knife and fork.
It's
You
just
know the vibe.
Not even knife and fork. Chopsticks.
he
fam.
thinks we're taking the piss, right? But like, then he just comes to my yard and just like hands us some chopsticks.
Comes 4 hours late
With chopsticks.
with chopsticks.
and wings, to be fair.
With his things on them.
And wings, to be fair.
The meals. I got you wing meals.
The Naga wing with chips,
with
and,
chips
and a Coke.
drink from the back of the fridge.
You got yourself a Mirinda, him a 7-Up, and me a Coke. What was the thought process in not getting us all Mirindas? I feel like you etched a little
I know that-
hierarchy
no,
into
not
your
even,
drink choice
Not
there.
even, because I just thought about what you guys. I never hear you talking about having Miranda, and then
never
he
asked.
always has 7-Up.
True.
And then like I just thought you normally just have when I'm with you and you have your drinks, you normally have it with Coke.
Yeah.
So I got you a Coke and I got you 7-Up, so you can
Not just the
potentially
pretty
mix
face,
it.
this one. Not just the
So you
pretty
can
face.
potentially mix it with your
face.
whiskies if you were to have one.
Fair play.
You know what I mean?
Bro, you ain't drink. I'm not drinking, bruv. I didn't have a drink all of March.
That's about to change next week.
To be fair, I reckon
I've had
April
a lot.
12th.
I've had a lot of rum waiting for Zavi to turn up this evening.
Yeah, for real, bruv.
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
How are you, Rich?
I'm blessed, man. I actually took all of this week off, so I'm feeling pretty refreshed. It's been a lot of like walking around and just like going to parks and shit, catching up on stuff. Been watching a lot of Girlfriends. They are 4 awful human beings. Those 4 from Girlfriends, by the
I
way.
watched one where like one
Beautiful
of
to
them,
look at, but just
Yeah.
awful.
What's girlfriends?
You know, Tracy Ellis Ross, the thing that she became famous for, that
Oh,
show back in
yeah,
the day. It's just like 4 like.
You know, I've had the hots for her since I was a kid.
she's amazing.
Oh,
but-
did we do
but-
this? We said this is Black Sex in the City.
Yeah, exactly. So,
we did this
the characters that they're based on, they're just horrible, bro. If I knew 4 women like that, I'd be shook, bro.
Yeah.
But anyway, I've been chilling, clearing out, bro. I'm trying to sell more kicks. I'm trying to, declutter, which is just an ongoing theme.
What's
for
the name of that
last-
Japanese lady from Netflix? Mary Kondo.
I don't know who that.
She's the one who does the declutter your life thing.
Oh.
And tidies people up.
Oh,
tidies people's house.
sweet. Yeah, no, that was cool. There's also another one. There's also another documentary by these 2 lads. It's called like Minimalism or some shit.
I remember.
I've seen
I
this.
think I recommended a book.
You recommended a book, but have you seen the documentary?
Buy things. No.
Yeah, watch that. It's all about like getting rid of like one or two things a day or whatever for a month's period or whatever. It's pretty good. But I've been trying to declutter. I've been alright though, man. Been pretty blessed. Been a pretty crazy week. We always complain on this podcast that typically when we release an episode, that's when shit seems to happen in the world and we have to play catch up. But today has been a pretty eventful day. But before we crack into that, I want you to have the floor, Zavi, to give us first of all, we're going to congratulate you for what you've achieved this week.
One thing we don't
and
do
I'm not
enough
talking
is
about your little
recognise
freaking
how
interview. Oh,
fucking
my name's
talented
Zavi and I
is.
pay. No, I don't mean the interview. I mean the more significant stuff you're doing with charity, Black Minds Matter, what you've been able to raise. We've been keeping it quiet for the last few episodes, and it's now your time to really hammer home clearly for everybody for what you've been doing for everybody.
Thanks, man. Yeah, so it's quite an achievement for everyone, I think. And big up Corey as well. Corey Spells, actually, for pulling the last strings to make it happen. So I initially set a target to raise £20,000 for Black Minds Matter. I had contacted quite a lot of investment banks I have relationships with to carry the heavy load, I would say. Whether it was timing or not, like, not all of them were as responsive at the time because, they have regimented times when they normally deal with charity stuff, but that's fine. Raised about £4,700 from the public.
Let me just put down the chopsticks so I can clap for you.
Yeah. Raised
We could do it with
£4,700.
chopsticks.
Yeah, let's do it with the chopsticks.
Next time. Let me say something else. We'll look
Oh, my
back
bad,
on.
my bad.
And then I got my company to match the donation. Had a meeting with my CEO, and then further to that, I did a talk at CRED, of which I got paid to do the talk, but then I donated that money to the charity, and then asked them to consider Black Minds Matter for their list of charities when they do their charity day incentive, of which Corey Spells re-raised that query and made it happen. So in total, we raised just over £64,000. £900 takes
I'm
care
doing
of.
it the right way, Johnny. You gotta actually use the chopsticks like you're using them to eat.
This is how I use
Can you hear
chopsticks,
that?
like knife and fork.
Can you hear that? Do you not know how to use chopsticks?
Just poke things, isn't it?
Do you not know how to use
I only eat bacon. I don't.
peasant?
You
Carry
only
on.
eat bacon? Fam, that's haram.
Peasant.
And that's against, and that's against your religion as well.
Peasant.
But yeah, no, that covers quite a lot. I mean, whether they
64 and a half or 65.
yeah, it was basically 65. So it was like,
Wonderful.
Amen.
God is good. When?
Baruch Hashem, all the time.
yeah, so you know what, God's good, man. And I think just to break down the cost of how the therapy scheme works. One person for £900, one person gets 12 sessions with private therapy from a Black therapist. God knows how much that could cover. You know, whether that all goes towards the therapy sessions or whether some of it goes towards the majority goes towards therapy sessions, others goes towards infrastructure around their charity. Either way, it still helps them carry out their mission smoothly. So I'm just like mad overwhelmed. When I found out the news, like I had freaking tears in my eyes. And
Yeah, man. I'm proud of you, bruv. I swear to God, I'm proud of you, man.
Thanks,
like,
man.
It's I know it was your birthday. We should have said that as well. It was your birthday this week. So happy birthday to you as well,
Thanks,
bro.
man.
But yeah, you spent your birthday basically just like giving out good news about what you've done for other people, man. It's a beautiful thing, man. I'm proud of you. Well done to you.
Thanks,
well done
bro.
to Black Minds Matter. Shout out, man, like Corey. It's beautiful.
And if people want to sign up, contribute, see what Black Minds Matter are about, where can they find that? Is it blackmindsmatter.co.uk.com? What's the
So
website?
basically, the links to them are bio for the donation page. But you can donate directly. If you type in Black Minds Matter, it will come up on your Google search, and their page is still obviously they got like a forever like open page basically. So you can go directly there, man, and just show support. It does have a positive impact on the community.
Yeah,
And
man.
I think Richard mentioned this in like episode 1 about there's one thing that's probably a much larger issue today during this lockdown period, and it isn't corona, it's mental health.
Yeah.
And a lot of us have been dealing with a lot of things over many years in our upbringing that we ain't dealt with. So so it's just like it's a dope thing to basically support.
Yeah.
You know
And
what
what's key, and not even on some separatist shit, right? It's key that black men, young black men in this case, have Black therapists to talk to about their Black experience. It's nothing against therapists outside of the Black community, but it's more to do with the fact that the reality is that you just can't really fully grasp and understand the nuance, the intricacies, and the difficulties unless you have experienced them, unless you are Black. So it's really, really cool that it's because for me, like, you know, when I was looking for therapy sessions and stuff, like for me, finding therapists who I could talk to, I can explain certain things, whether that be, you know, the African family dynamic, whether it be maneuvering like corporate UK and all this other stuff as a Black person. People just, you can't understand that unless you've been in that shit, unless you understand all of those nuances. So that is one of the things that is most special for me about Black Minds Matter and what they're achieving. So everybody who is listening to us, who if you know somebody who's looking for somebody in that similar sort of lane of profession, yeah, you've got a pretty strong recommendation from us here.
Yeah, definitely, man. It's dope. 'Cause you know what's so crazy as well? Like when I got to, I was so cheesed off because
Cheesed.
when I got to the initial
90s, what's his expressions?
when I got to like the initial.
I was so cheesed off.
God, Mom.
God,
I
get out
hate
of
you,
my
Mom.
room.
Get out of my room, Mom.
God.
I was so cheesed off.
You're gonna make me do my laundry, Mom. So basically, when I did the initial, I raised like 4,729, I think, from the initial fundraising, and I got that matched to basically just under 10,000, and I was pretty cheesed off because I was just like my target. I'm not gonna swear, and I'm trying to minimize my swearing, whatever, but like
My taking out the budget.
mad heavily, but I didn't reach the 20,000, so I was quite
Cheesed off.
I was quite cheesed off. And but like they were telling me themselves that you're still like the highest, even at like 10,000, you're still the highest individual like fundraiser. Like, so hats off to you, and this is still amazing. And at that point, I think I would have covered like 12 people or something like that.
Lovely.
And then like just before I was about to close off, and I said thank you to the lady in the States for her help and whatnot from Jeffries. And then like a couple of days later, I got a call from Corey telling me the heads up. So and I was like, what? You what? I'm sorry, what? 55,000. That's insane.
It's a blessing.
So yeah, man.
Big up, man.
That's it,
Big
man.
up. It's amazing. It's amazing. We got to take this into our own hands and make these things happen. You're going to hear more and more stories similar to this of people taking this fight and this need for attention in certain key areas of our communities into their own hands, because unfortunately we're not necessarily getting the buy-in from the institutions, the government, and the regulatory bodies, or whatever you want to call them, that we need to scale these things in a much more systematic way. So yeah, you're going to hear more of these things, especially from us. We're all doing things in our own little rights, for the communities around us, for people that we know, our circles of influence. So that's going to come. It has been quite a day. So Jesus. I was actually going to come in here on this particular section and, on a solemn note, offer a rest in peace to one person at the start of today. Come recording time, it was 3 people, all varying in age, all various different stages of their lives, 3 very different stories, all sad in their own right. The one that obviously I think takes most priority is the heartbreaking news around a young man, my namesake, from, I think, he's from Nigeria as well, right? So, you know, my namesake from my country, RIchard Okorogheye, who went missing from his home towards the back end of March and disappeared, and was found. His body was found a few days ago, and confirmed his identity yesterday. Death being treated as unexplained, not entirely suspicious for the time being, but obviously they've got to do a great deal of analysis and post-mortem analysis on his body. Was it mental health? We don't know. He had a very specific case of not really being able to leave the house throughout most of lockdown because of him having sickle cell. He was an ardent gamer, so there's questions as to whether or not he went out to meet somebody where he was found, which was basically the other side of London.
Forest, wasn't it? His family? Towards
Essex, and he was from West London, if I'm getting that right. And it's heartbreaking, right? It hits different. You're like, I got a ute, and my ute isn't 19, nowhere near. But bruh, these things are horrible. And like, the more and more I think about the story, and we're not here to speculate, we're not here to point fingers, blah 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 blah. It's suspicious. It's crazy. It's so sad. And I shout out to his mum, Joelle, who has been super transparent. She's been in the news, doing all the interviews, giving as much information as she can, even through some initial fuckery as well. I don't know if you guys heard that when she initially went to the police officers and said, "My son's missing, can you help me find my son?" They initially responded, "Well, if you can't find your son, how are we supposed to find your son?"
That's the fucking point of having a police force, you dickheads.
Yeah, I mean, we could get into it. And again, we're not here to make comparisons to the other high-profile case of recent weeks, but it's just different. It's just different for us out here. And we have examples every day which just continually hammer that home. But we're not here to talk about that. I know there were some people who were being...
They're still trying to find Maddie.
Yeah, and it's costing the taxpayer a lot of money. But again, I'm not here to do that. We really, really could. I'm tempted, don't get me wrong, but we really, really shouldn't. And I just want to focus on this guy's life, man. He was 19 years old, sweet boy, just looked like a really, really nice boy, only child, lived with his mum, not in the best health from a broad level, but was seemingly getting on. He was in university, Oxford Brook, just trying to make a go of it. You can live with sickle cell, right? You just do your treatments. And and we have no closure. So all I'm praying for is just that his mum and everybody who knows him, his wider family, his friends, and all of those people get some closure, because this is really, really horrible. I know there are some theories as to what happened with him, but we don't need to get into any of all that. Like,
I just want him to find justice.
Yeah, we just need to find some closure for the mum. Maybe it's not justice we need. Maybe we just need to know what happened to him. Maybe it's just closure. Maybe there is a story. Maybe we'll find some more clues. This is a call to anybody who.
So you really think he actually went out and he did it himself?
Well, that's what they're saying. You know, one of my friends who lives in that area. She went to lay some flowers down by the water where he was found, and she said that the track that leads onto it was way too precarious for anybody to walk across it and then take their own lives. So she thinks that something dodgy has happened.
It's also the wrong side of London. Like,
right.
if you were going to do it, and he's from West London, going to Epping Forest from East London is still a myth.
It's crazy, right? He was walking around. He got an Uber as part of his journey. You know, late night walking with not much on him. Didn't even seem like he had a great deal of layers on him. And we all know how cold it's been in the UK in the last couple of weeks. In London even. And, you know, it does seem a bit suspicious. Obviously, there are some people, I don't know if you want to call them disrespectful, but there were people who were speculating whether or not it was like a County Lions story of him being sent to Cunch and all this other stuff. You heard a lot of stuff, all of that stuff. And to be honest, at that time, like, you can't really rule anything out because you don't really know.
Yeah.
But that's not the point, right? He's no longer with us. We don't have answers, and I hope that we get them soon. Not for us. We don't need them. His mom needs them.
His poor mother.
So God bless her. God bless his family and all of that. Mm-hmm. And then, as I say, that was going to be the RIP of the day, so to speak. And then we got some news that Prince Philip kicked the can, so to speak.
He's done the Shane Warne.
Yeah. And 99 years old, man. Prince Philip is no longer with us. Rest in peace to him. To be honest, I don't know a great deal about. Me and Johnny were talking about this. I don't know a great deal about Prince Philip beyond a lot of the gaffes that he made. A lot of like the racist gaffes and the funny stuff that we always used to laugh at and find offensive. And then obviously these last 15 years, he's been in and out of hospital. And the last few months when he's come out of hospital, he's been looking very, very worse for wear. But it's crazy, man. It's crazy. He's no longer with us. And
bit of a mad life, this geezer.
Yeah, and Johnny was like hitting me with some facts today, which again, I wasn't even really gonna go into, but like this guy's story is mad.
It's pretty mad.
So maybe you should like, just so that people kind of get a much more rounded view of what this guy's life was really about in the context of both his personal upbringing and the royal family as we know it today. It's interesting to me.
So it's a bit of a mad story. That whole like Greek royal family in that interwar period sounds a bit of history nerd when I started off like that. But hear me out. So his grandfather's King George I of Greece, right, gets assassinated by some random bloke, and his son takes over, who's Philip's uncle, Constantine. The names you're going to keep up with, otherwise it all gets a bit confusing. But Constantine takes over, becomes a king, and forces Greece into neutrality in World War One. That pisses off everyone, right? Because he's married to a German princess, so the Germans think, yeah, he's going to be on our side. But the Greek prime minister at the time, Venizelos, is super pro-ally, and so the allies kind of think, yeah, no, like, Greece are going to join our side. Constantine's not having it, doesn't want to get involved in the war. That pisses off the allies. So the only thing that's keeping Constantine on the throne is that he is cousins with the Tsar of Russia. All the fucking monarchs are Tsars at this time. And to an extent, they're all still cousins today. They're literally all fucking cousins. They're cousins that fuck each other. Ugh. So Russian Revolution happens, World War One. Tsar's fucked, gets shot in the wood, right? So then the allies are like, well, none of us lot are backing you anymore. So they put his second son on the throne. Constantine's fucked off to Switzerland. They put his second son on the throne, some young kid called Alexander. Everything's going hunky-dory. A couple years later...
Alexander being Philip's...
Cousin.
All right.
Everything's going hunky-dory. Alexander goes out hunting one day, right? Goes out with the dogs. Dogs attack a monkey.
Yep, that happens.
Right?
Seen a couple of them.
We've all been out hunting with our dogs and they've attacked a monkey, right?
Sure.
So the monkey then bites the king. Alexander, the monkey, bites the king.
Crazy.
Right? You think, well, not ideal. Fast forward a few days, king's dead, got sepsis, fucked, right? So then This
Mad.
popular Prime Minister,
way to
Venizelos, in Greece, loses an election. And the royalists, who do they call for?
Ghostbusters?
After the Ghostbusters, Uncle Constantine gets back on the throne. So then he tries to give it the big un, tries to invade Turkey, goes all Pete Tong, and his right-hand man for the invasion is
Man like.
Philip's dad.
What's his name?
Andrew.
All
Right?
Bet,
So
bet,
then they come back from this failed invasion in Turkey, and basically Constantine's kicked off the throne again, but Andrew is almost held responsible for the military failure and just about avoids being shot as part of like a military trial.
Right.
Part of the coup, right?
Right.
So because Andrew's managed to get himself a British semi-royalty wife, the Brits turn up and they whisk him and the family away and they hide their kid in an orange box. And guess who the
Mad.
kid is?
Man like Phil.
Man like Phil.
Man like Phil, yeah.
Gets snuck out of the country in an orange box.
That's crazy.
So it's not ideal, right? So then they have to flee Greece and they go to France, right? So he goes to a public school in the UK for a couple of years, and then he gets sent, because they can't afford it, to a public school in Germany, and it's cheaper because Phil's 3 sisters, whilst he's been at public school in England, have all married German princes. And it just so happens that one of his brothers-in-law owns the school that he's being sent to. Happy days. So the bloke who actually runs the school that he's been sent to is a Jew. Not a good time to be in Germany following World War One.
No, I wouldn't say so.
If you're a Jew.
No.
So he flees and goes to Scotland, opens up a school called Gordonstone, which some people may have heard of. It's a very famous public school, but it's a pretty Spartan kind of gig. It's very grey, cold, shite up there, etc., etc.
Yeah.
And so that kind of shapes Philip's personality. Now, while Philip is at this school in Gordonstone, he stays with his grandmother and his uncle, one of the Mountbattens. Now, if anyone's ever watched The Crown, and anyone who's listening has ever watched The Crown will recognise
I still need to get on that.
the name Mountbatten.
Yeah, same.
Right? The name Mountbatten. But
Is
that's
it good? I hear it's dead at the start.
Yeah, I basically gave up on it after the first season
okay.
for that reason. But anyway, the Mountbattens are there and thereabouts. So remember the name Mountbatten.
Yeah.
So whilst he goes to school, finishes school, and does what all kind of agitated, aristocratic young men did pre-World War II, and he joins the Royal Navy. So he joins the Royal Navy. So whilst he's kind of young, one of his sisters dies, not ideal, and ends up getting dragged into World War II, right? Where, funnily enough, he's fighting against 2 of his brothers-in-law
Wow. That must
because
be
all of
awkward.
his sisters are married to Germans.
Awkward,
right?
awkward at Christmas.
It's not ideal. Not ideal. So then he survives the war, and I think after the war, before, I can't quite remember, but his other uncle Mountbatten is showing his cousin, Fucknose, the Queen Mother, or as we know her, the Queen Mother, around this military barracks. And so he says, "Oh, you, Phil, show Margaret, I think her name was, and the young princess, Elizabeth, around this army barracks." And so 13-year-old Princess Elizabeth meets this strapping young 18-year-old bloke, and it all kind of kicks off from there. Now, is it a little bit noncy that he was hitting on a 13-year-old at a military barracks?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a bit problematic.
Yes.
What? Rewind that, please.
Yeah. So
The bit where he got with a 13-year-old.
I don't think he got with her when he was
Well,
13, but they were
he
introduced
started
to each
a
other.
process, didn't he?
Yeah, there was
he tigered
winking.
her.
There
That
was
was Tiger before the Tiger.
Yeah.
He did a.
That's mad.
He Kylie'd the Queen.
Yeah.
Didn't Prince Charles do that with Diana as well? Didn't he meet
So
Diana
he
when
met
she
her
was
when she
like
was like 16,
15?
15,
Mad,
16.
bro. What's going on?
There's a bit of form to it, yeah.
Fucking hell,
There's
bro.
a bit of form to it. And then it's really, honestly, in that context, it's awfully surprising that Prince Andrew was Jeffrey Epstein's mate. But anyway, so yeah, he met her when he was 13 and they were exchanging letters for a while. So the euphemism goes. And then he waited until she was about 18, 19 or something to make the move. Asked King George VI if he could marry Elizabeth, who told him to wait for her 21st birthday, and then finally gave permission, and he was allowed to marry her. But the royal family treated him as an outsider because although he was actually more royal than Queen Elizabeth, by virtue that both his parents were royals and only one of Elizabeth's parents is royal, they thought of him as this kind of uneducated foreigner because he was effectively kind of Greek-Danish and he hadn't been to Eton. He'd been to Gordonstone, which wasn't a good enough public school. So he was given a lot of shit for being an outsider, for being uneducated, for being a bit rough around the edges. And then he had to learn to adapt from, being this World War II Navy boat commander to very much being his wife's number 2. She was the leader. She was the sovereign, and he had to learn to adapt and take a backseat role.
That's easy, man. When you're just chilling like and at night times, just blowing the back out of the Queen, and that's calm. What do you want from me? Like, he's just calm.
Yeah,
It's easy. It's an easy life, bruv.
Hear you. But so one thing I will say is
Is that wrong? What I just said.
I don't know.
Was
man.
that wrong? What I just said. Blowing the back out of the Queen. That's
we've all got queens to blow the backs out.
That's got to be weird. What I just said, and that's got.
Well,
to be wrong.
he's backed you up, so like it's.
I'm
right.
trying about.
No, I needed the backup there. I don't want to down.
But what I will say,
the hill of my own head.
What I will say is for every obviously it's not ideal. The geezer goes on a fucking state visit to China in the 70s and starts talking about their slitty eyes. That's obviously not kosher.
That's what we know him for.
That's not kosher.
That's
But
his
for
thing.
example, he's left a good legacy like the Duke of Edinburgh Award, but also more importantly, a lot of the public playing fields that we see around the country are down to his influence, down to his lobbying.
So very quickly, what's gonna happen if Harry and Meghan don't show up?
They're not going.
Do you reckon they're going?
I reckon they're going.
They're not going.
I reckon,
reckon
at least Harry will go. Has to.
One up. He has to. Like at the very, very least, Harry has to go. He has to represent the family.
He doesn't have to shake hands.
But they're cool, innit?
Yeah, but he doesn't have to shake hands. He can just give man like an air spud.
I seen it the Oprah interview. He said he loved the family. I seen it.
Yeah, but if he wants,
loves his grandmother,
if he wants to just be a bit like anti for a minute,
He's
like,
gonna go and support Liz.
he can like probably exactly probably like her grandma. and that's
Meghan
it.
should go too. She should.
They're not going.
Nah, Meghan.
The only thing that will stop it.
To be honest,
How far along is Meghan? That's a big part, right? If she can't actually physically like travel because baby number 2 is close, then how quickly do these things have to take place, like funerals? Because
so I think they
it
said
would be in the next couple of weeks, no?
So yeah, I think they came out this afternoon and said there's gonna be 4 or 5 days until they figure out what they're doing. But he doesn't want a big funeral.
Well,
He always said
COVID restrictions should limit that to 30 people max or something like that.
So
shouldn't it?
that kind of suits him anyway. I mean, he would have probably gotten a state funeral. Like if the Queen dies next week, she's getting a state funeral, right? I don't think you could stop that happening.
30 people. The rest on pay-per-view.
Sky box office and that.
Exactly.
I mean, I'd pay. Nah, I wouldn't pay.
I wouldn't pay, man. Fuck that.
Borrow a
No,
login.
I already paid license fee.
YouTube,
man.
Yeah, I'll
Fuck
borrow
you.
a login. Yeah, I'll borrow a login.
I'll YouTube that, man.
No,
No,
disrespect.
they're not going. I'll put £10 in it. They're not going.
So let's
He
bet some
might
wings.
go, but
Let's
they're
bet some
not
wings. If Meghan, so I'm saying my bet is they're all gonna go. Meghan and Harry are gonna go.
going. I'll take that bet.
And you're saying none of them come.
Well, I'm not sure none, but
I'm
Meghan's
saying
not
Harry.
going.
I'm
Wait,
saying Harry.
whoa!
No,
You're
no.
folding
Meghan's not
already,
going.
Johnny.
Meghan's not going.
You know why? Because Johnny doesn't like buying wings.
No.
Yeah.
Firstly, that's anti-Semitic. But secondly, you just said why did I play the race card?
Look.
So you
just want a black therapist. Okay?
you do-
It's not a race card. It's not a race card. Fucking
Fortunately, plenty of Jew therapists around. That's not something we struggle with.
different kind of struggles.
You bet that they're both turning up,
Yes.
and I bet against that. I'll take that bet. Done. Cheers.
Cool. Wings.
Thanks.
No
Yeah.
t-shirts. Nothing long like t-shirts, bruv.
Well, I'm still waiting for my fucking t-shirt.
So
I'm
whoever
not-
wins just buys the other wings.
Done.
Bet. All right. Cool. So
I reckon Harry's just gonna turn up.
just Harry.
I
All
might-
right.
I
All
might
right. So
like that.
whoever. All right. So we got 3 different bets then. Great.
Exactly.
No. We've
No,
got
no,
a
no.
bet.
Shh.
No. But it's maybe a
Three-way
3-way
bet.
because you think that none of them's coming.
No.
He thinks
We've
just
got a
Harry.
bet.
No.
Oh wow!
We. What do you mean?
Hold on.
Wow. Zabby's
Oh,
not.
there's only 2 people in the podcast.
There can be
I'm
addi-
sorry.
There can be
Apparently.
additional positions placed,
Wow.
but we've got a bet.
I'm
The
sorry.
thing is, Johnny, can we get the rules in
You know what it
place
is?
right now?
We just said done. We're done.
Yeah, but the thing is,
There's no but when you're done.
to be honest,
a
there's
three-way
no,
switch, bro.
Yeah, there's no way that Johnny can like create his own version of this like via his Instagram page.
No,
So this is a safe bet actually.
He's no. Look at him drinking his drink.
Yeah. You sip up. Don't choke.
You can't get him red. He's going red.
No, but for real.
You don't want to spend £4.20. It's
so,
fine. Dickhead.
the Queen, Lizzie, Hot Girl Summer. Say what?
Wow. I can't even comment on that.
Someone said Harry Kane's closest chance to silverware is asking her to marry him.
Who's
Someone.
Who's Harry Kane? I'm joking. I know Harry
okay.
Kane.
Well, you're never sure.
Someone said the Queen's too old to have the WAP. She's got the DAP.
Oh my days.
Yo, nah. I'm sorry, man. I can't even. I don't want to.
That someone might have.
I don't want to see her without clothes on. bro.
That someone might have been me, by the way.
That somebody probably definitely was you.
I'm not confirming or denying.
Holy Madonna.
That's mad.
The Queen comes up on Hinge. Are you hitting the tick or what?
Nah, but if I'm broke, then
Sugar Babe's business got to be popping.
It's like
around Windsor
Oprah,
right
innit?
now, bro.
It's like, yeah, those are the 2 seasoned veterans that you have to give some time in it. Oprah and the Queen, like both of them. If they show up on Hinge, you're thinking about it.
Would you hit for the palace? I don't know. But would you be guaranteed the Palace afterwards?
I mean, you be guaranteed a sweet little payoff to keep stum.
Yeah, but I mean, Oprah,
Yeah, good point.
You know what I mean?
Oprah probably like should pay out more. I think.
You reckon?
Yeah, she's richer.
I'm not sure.
Oh, I don't know.
I think she.
Which
is.
one are you doing? Like, which one for the clout though?
Oh my days.
Which one to go back to the hoods and be like, yo, I did this?
Yeah, Oprah.
Oprah over the Queen
What?
for clout?
For clout, 100.
Really?
Yeah, 100.
I don't know about that, bruv.
Yo, with Oprah, you got coverage like globally.
It's the Queen, bruv.
It's the Queen, bruv.
Fam, you think people in America with no passports know who the Queen is?
Yeah,
Yes, bruv.
They're the same people telling Meghan, like, you ain't welcome here, buddy.
Do you know how many of these rednecks turned up to watch Meghan's wedding
Yeah.
before it went Pete Tong?
Nah, I think Oprah's more of a bossy one.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oprah's like a step above Beyonce.
Well, I think you're racist.
Nah,
That-
I just have preference.
He's like, nah, just prefer Oprah. And she just
prefer
happens to be black.
Well, if you don't like it here, right?
That's it.
Nah, but look, I'm looking forward to seeing Queen and Saweetie doing selfies from Marbella in the summer. I hear
On
they're
a
both,
yacht.
I hear they're both
Nah.
on the market.
I think on a yacht in Dubai,
Yeah, man.
more fitting.
We do like subliminal tweets to like Quavo and, you know, all the rest. But all jokes aside, man, big up the Queen, man. It must be really, really tough. That's a companion of 70,
But they were married 74 years. That is
bro.
mad. They were
Like, yeah, man. I don't know if they,
Heartbreak.
I don't know if they like spoon in the palatial bed or anything like that. Maybe they
they
sleep in
probably got
separate
separate
rooms.
beds, yeah.
But if they do spoon, right, like that's a big loss. You know, like
74 years.
that's your companion,
That's enormous, man.
who you've lost. So big up to the Queen. It's been a tricky kind of few weeks for her and the family. Shout out Fox News, who are already trying to find a way of blaming Meghan Markle for
they've
this.
done it?
Meghan Markle for this. They already have.
What they tell you? What stress related?
Yeah. All the stress brought on by the interview and all of the debacle, blah, 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 blah.
some bullshit.
Shameless motherfuckers, but people expect more of that. It's going to come. And then, obviously, last but not least, before we move on from this depressing section, which we're trying to make a little bit more lighthearted because it's all about death, to literally before we started recording, or a few hours before we started recording, we obviously got the news that hip-hop legend, hip-hop great, and I'm not using those words lightly at all. We're talking about a true hip-hop legend, both in musical output and character and personality. Earl Simmons, a.k.a. Darkman X, a.k.a. DMX, passed away today at the age of 50 after complications caused by a heart attack, which was apparently caused by a drug overdose. He had been in a coma for some days now, and the initial prognosis was that he had a heart attack and no oxygen to his brain for about half an hour. So from my perspective, and I think many people would agree, sadly the writing was probably on the wall from that point. You just can't go that long
it's a
without
matter of
oxygen to
how
the
many
brain.
days.
So the family had his very large family of 15 kids and baby mothers and stuff had the decision to make to switch off his life support as his organs were failing, and that decision came today. Shout out to everybody in the New York area who showed up at his outside of the hospital in New York.
That was beautiful, man.
For the vigil with the quad bikes and the motorcycles, all symbolic hip hop moments associated with DMX and the Rough Riders. I can't even remember who I said this to. I think I said this to Corey maybe, but like this is for me personally, and like correct me if I'm wrong in your opinion, but like this for me is the biggest death in hip hop since Tupac. For me. And to be honest,
I mean,
we don't even need to compare him.
I mean, Nipsey's death was huge.
Yeah,
You know?
it was huge, but I think in terms of how big DMX was, this is one of the more high profile deaths that we have had since Tupac died. And Tupac died like, what was it, 25 plus years ago now. And this just like, you know, DMX had that run, right? When he came out, had those 2 number 1 albums in a year, followed them up with albums. Rough Riders had their albums. He gave us, through the Rough Riders imprint, we had other artists like Drag On, obviously people like Eve. The Locks were on Rough Riders for some time.
Jadakiss.
Like exactly all them,
Beats.
man. Swiss Beats, who today is still one of the greatest producers ever, and you know, is like a brother to DMX. That was a moment that we're never ever gonna forget in hip hop. It's just really, really sad. Like the thing about DMX the most is that you just knew that there was a lot of pain every single time he spoke. His story is so tragic. He was basically given a crack-laced joint at 14 years old by somebody who he looked up to as his mentor, and that was basically the start of his drug addiction that plagued him throughout his career. He had high points, he had low points, but I don't want to speak out of turn here, but he was always battling those demons. You could almost say to some degree that he was kind of like a functioning addict, even through his most height of his fame. But he just had such incredible fame associated with his hits that maybe we glossed over it, maybe we ignored those things, and then he disappeared. And then you would hear stories about him showing up looking mad in certain places, getting arrested. And, you know, in the last couple of months, I was saying to Johnny earlier, you know, the last couple of months, we've had him on the versus Snoop Dogg, which was amazing. We had him on the Drink Champs with Noriega and them, man, on that podcast. He looked like he was getting better. Videos and pictures. Yeah, exactly. Videos and pictures of him and Swiss in the studio. His speech was much clearer, much better. And unfortunately, man, them demons just kept up with him. And, you know, he was very transparent about those struggles and those demons that he had in all of his music. You know, his upbringing, you know, his running through the childcare system from a young age and then getting into a drug addiction and then a superstar music career. Some people just shouldn't really maybe be exposed to fame, right? Like I compared it to Mike Tyson before. Some people just get everything too much, too quickly, too young. Don't really know what to do with it. The music industry is shady, it's full of savages and, you know, horrible people. And you really need people to take care of you. And it's a shame that maybe you could argue at some of his most critical points, he just didn't necessarily have the right voices in his head and didn't take the right action. So look, man, before I get depressed, like rest in peace to DMX, man. Like I'm going to be playing your music all weekend. Because boy,
banger after banger.
Swear down.
Yeah.
What a guy. Yeah. I was reading the news this week, and I don't know how this evaded me because I play the lottery like every week. I don't know about you, man, but I basically set up the automatic playing on the website, right?
Oh my days! Did you see that? Did you see that girl who didn't have enough in her fucking Monzo account by like 40p? Didn't buy a ticket, and her regular numbers come in for like 120 million nicker or something. My days!
So
bro.
there was that.
I'll be so pissed.
Yeah, she didn't have enough money in her account to automatically pay. So I paid
by
like
50p, bruv. Her balance was like 350, and the ticket's like 450 or something. Fuming.
Can you imagine? So one of my uncles, by the way, didn't play. He always played the same numbers, and the one week, probably like 15 years ago, maybe even longer, didn't play, and his numbers came up. But that's another story.
No way.
Yeah.
He's fuming.
This story. So we basically got the this is a shout out, right? Just moving on from the depressing stuff before. This is a shout out to an anonymous person who has become the 976th richest person in the UK because they won last Friday's Euro Millions, which was 122 million pounds.
And then 976.
976.
That's still mad low, like down the ranks. Who'd help you?
I would happy, bro. I'll be low there. I'll be down there.
No, I'll be happy there as well. But I'm saying
I'd
that.
have to be
How many rich
976.
people in the UK?
But up the top is like hedge fund managers, like the guy who does the Dysons, all them man there, innit? Right? It's like when you come down the thing, it's like I think this person was compared in a sort of similar ballpark to like Gareth Bale and like there was someone else they mentioned who was sort of in the entertainment space. All I've ever won on the lottery on my automatic thing is like basically like a couple of fivers and like some lucky dips. Like if you get two numbers,
I think I won a big £6.50 once.
Yeah,
Decent.
How many numbers is that?
I don't know, like
2, 3.
3, I think.
I think you get lucky dips if you get. Imagine like
What's a lucky dip?
it's like when you get two numbers, they give you another play, and a lucky dip is when they randomize the numbers.
Oh, got
So it's just dead. It's like completely
Lucky
dead.
did never wins it because lotteries are fixed. They they fucking run however many numbers they need to
It
run.
randomizes something that's even more random. It's just so crazy.
It's all a fix. But anyway.
But yeah, no, shout out to that person who's won 122 million. But it did have me thinking, like, what would you do? What would be the first? I'm gonna ask you two questions. What would be the first thing you do if you won the lottery? And what would be the first things you cop? First things you would do. The first thing you would do if they sent you that email saying, this is what they do, by the way, when you've won something, they send you an email saying, there's some news in your account.
Then you have to call in.
And then, no, you got to log in. So, like, the first time I got that email, I started having heart palpitations because I was like, my life is about to change.
Baby, we made it.
And then it was a £5 win.
Baby, we rich. We ain't got
They don't tell you. And
we ain't got to eat pole no more.
Exactly. And clearly for security reasons, right? Like, they don't tell you in the email how much you've won.
Yeah,
They're just
yeah.
like, there's some news in your account. You should log in and find out.
Yeah.
Bruv, the amount of people who probably won that thing just had a heart attack before they even remember their password. It's crazy, bruv.
Proper crazy.
What's the first thing you would do if you won 122 million?
I think I'd call my mum.
Just call your mum.
Yeah, and then she'd probably be upset. She'd make me donate half of it to charity, and I'd be like, yeah, fine, fair enough.
Half of 122 million to charity is not bad shout, to be fair.
Yeah, I'd put, yeah. Or grassroots, like socialist organisations and teachers unions around the world, which I probably would do anyway, because who the fuck needs that much money? But then I'd buy a box at Tottenham, obviously.
That'd be your first cop.
Yeah, probably. Actually, no. What I would do, out of spite, because I don't like him, I would buy every single available Yeezy foam runner pre-drop just to make sure Xavi couldn't get any.
You have haters here, brother.
And then I would.
Bro, you got time.
Your haters have arrived.
And then I would short squeeze the fuck out of them, and I would go on StockX and I'd buy everyone else's, and then I would refuse to sell for any less than like $5,000. Like, fuck you, what's up?
That's deep, Johnny.
I've got 60 odd million quid.
That's what your boy would do if you won the lottery.
Yeah, you could just ignore the Yeezys. Like,
Yeah.
No.
that'd be much cheaper.
I fucking hate
Fam, you
these
can get an
things.
apartment. You can get an apartment that's so high up, you ain't even got to see.
I've still got enough peas.
Exactly.
This op will cost me what? £500,000?
I don't know, man.
I've got 60 million left.
I feel you.
I am blessed.
What's the first thing you would do if you won?
If I won that much, I'll tell my mum first,
Obviously.
and I think I'll buy my nearest and dearest either a house or business.
Okay. These are
and
boring
then-
answers, lads. You guys got to fucking do better.
Nah, hear me out.
All right, bet.
And then I will buy just apartments in all the cities in Europe that or anywhere in the world that I might fancy going to.
All right, where? You're going to buy a frigging house in Liechtenstein? Or what? I mean,
No,
all the European cities. What do you mean?
Like, I'll buy a yard.
I've always wanted to
I'll
go
buy
to
a-
Bern.
I've never been skiing before as such, but I'd love to buy a place in the Alps. I'd like to buy a place in
Does that mean that motherfucker who
yeah.
ain't skied in his life but buys a chalet?
Yeah. I'll go and chill. I'll go and chill.
For 110 million, fuck you, I'm buying a mountain.
Yo, hear me out. No, shut up, man. You'll buy foam runners. Waste, man. So then,
Is that only waste man by foam runners?
no, but you want to do it to squeeze out the market. Let man live, innit? I'll buy. I can't think top of my head, but I'll buy apartments in like loads of little cities that I think I'll fancy, like around the world. I'll give money to charity, and I think I'll just chill, man. I think I'll still work, you know.
Yeah, no, that's mad chat.
I think I'll still
Work
work.
where?
I'm
Your
not working.
current job now?
I think I'll still work.
You've
No
lost your
way.
mind.
But I want to opt to remain anonymous.
Yeah, I'd obviously remain anonymous.
100%.
Who the fuck would do the name give up?
Not
No
me, bruv.
way.
Some people would, but no, I'll remain
I'm
anonymous. I'll
Nigerian,
just chill.
bruv.
Like,
I'm Nigerian, bruv. That's actually in line with the first thing I would do. First of all, I would close all of social media.
Yeah, no.
That'd be the very first thing I do because I'd be too tempted to get on an Instagram story like with my fucking Dave Chappelle voice and be like, "I'm rich, bitch" on a caption or something. I'd be too tempted. Right.
No,
I will remember
You
you.
know, and the problem, and the thing is with that, if I do a story saying I'm rich, bitch, every single fucking Yoruba speaking person from fucking East London all the way to like Ekiti, where my mum's from in Nigeria, will be,
Richard.
do you remember me?
Hey.
Do you remember me? Me and your mother, me and your daddy. We go way back now.
So what would you buy?
Bruv, can you imagine? So I spend the first period just like basically just getting rid of all of the potential, people wanting handouts and all that. And
Are
then,
you
yeah,
going to pay them out though, or are you going to be greedy?
bruv, if I don't know who you are, eh? Bruv, Facebook is a mad one as well, and Instagram too. Like people just like the amount of people who just like added me on Facebook because I had their surname. You feel me? Like just opportunist people.
I've had a
like,
couple rogue Vivas's tried to come for me as well.
Yeah,
to be
bruv.
fair.
No.
You managed to
no.
go on Facebook.
No, I haven't used Facebook for time.
but like you know that's where it happened the most. I don't use Facebook, but like that's where it happened the most. Like there's mad like ghost accounts just trying to like that. So I get rid of that. And once I'd like sorted everybody out in my family, like financially, if they want like a yard or like something or whatever, I think I just like I'm not really like into cars and that. So I'd probably buy like my house destination would be either in Angel or Blackheath. Those are like my two favorite places to want to live if money were no object. But I'd probably like, I was thinking about this, like I probably just have like a professional masseuse just like follow me around, but they would have to double.
kinda dope still.
But they would have to double as like a photographer who just follows me around and just captures my drip, because my drip at that point.
But you're not going to share it anywhere
will
because you
be
delete your
impeccable.
social media.
Bruv, NFTs on my wall, bruv.
What, of yourself?
I'll be living in 2050, mate.
You can have NFTs of
You
yourself.
come into my house and you see these things on the wall, and it just be like my dripper from the day.
That's not how NFTs work. You're just taking pictures, bruv.
What?
The idea of an NFT is that you then sell those pictures of yourself to
What, you
someone
think
else.
no one's gonna buy my pictures?
But you haven't got social media.
I'll have a ghost account then.
Then you still won't get any. You still won't hit it.
Exactly.
What do you mean?
Because no one's going to know who you are.
This guy don't know what it'll do 120 million,
This guy's
basically.
back. Don't
What do you
give it
mean?
to him.
I
innit?
was waiting for a build up, and then this how he lands.
No, wait. How
Buy
is
a
this?
mas-
shit,
buy a
fam.
mas- buy a masseuse and then take NFT pictures.
Wait. I've
deleted social
Wait.
I'm going to
Why
sell
do you
the
need a social
pictures.
media to have
I
an
can't
NFT?
lie, I
Wait,
can't lie, yeah?
wait. Why do you need a social media account to have an NFT?
Because you need to build like basically clout around your name in order
Whoa.
People need to know who the fuck you
are.
No, it's true. In
How-
order to know
whoa.
who the fuck you are.
So wait.
But if you remain anonymous,
So what you're trying to? No. I'm sorry. Dead artists whose art is currently in exhibitions.
Yeah.
yeah, they're not.
So so none of their stuff's going to be NFT'd.
They've got clout, fam.
you
Who
don't
are
see.
you?
You don't see their work on NFT. You see like current artists.
No. Obviously, their stuff's on the walls right now, but
You won't.
Why not?
Because NFTs is like digital art, isn't it? Like you're not gonna have. Well, not saying you're not gonna have that, but it's less likely. You haven't had that yet. It's all like current.
Okay, fine,
Current
but
artists or
even-
AI artists.
Sure. Even moving on
That's
from
really
that.
not
even
my understanding of
Okay.
it,
Even
but-
moving on from that, let's remove someone like a Picasso, or whatever, right? Even if we take the concept of digital art purely, not digitizing existing art, but digital art as it's created.
What if I've got a
digitally,
website?
right?
Why do I need a social media?
But who the fuck are you,
No
bro?
one's gonna
Who's going to
buy
buy
it,
your
bro.
shit from a ghost account?
Why are you guys acting like you have to have a social media account to have a presence as an artist? Am I bugging?
But what presence do you have? You're just the guy
you-
who's won a
no,
lottery
The art
anonymously.
circuit. There is an art circuit outside of social media, guys.
But how are you going to promote yourself?
The art circuit. It's a circuit.
But
What is the art circuit?
Where is the circuit?
Bro, people go to like there is a whole art collecting.
So walk me through the
art collecting, art viewing, gallery.
Walk me through the process. So you've won the lottery. You delete your social media. You've gone completely rogue, ghost.
Right.
No one
Right.
knows who you are, where you are. Okay.
Right.
Then you take a couple
It
pictures of
makes like
yourself.
a 1, 2, 3
Oh, no.
Abiade account.
Bro,
Stop,
I've got money
stop,
to do
stop.
advertising, by the way. So I
you
don't know what you're
take
talking about.
so you got your masseuse and they're taking pictures of you, right? You're an accountless guy.
Yeah.
But someone is following you, giving you back rubs and photos.
Correct.
Who are you going to sell these fucking photos to?
People.
What people?
Art collectors.
Richard doesn't know what's doing money.
Art collectors. No. I'm getting annoyed at the fact that you think the transaction.
I think Richard needs to buy like a financial advisor. He's gonna buy Drip and a cameraman.
Your art. So what? Your art was only sold to people on social media.
No, but I built a presence through social media.
Promoted through social media.
But if you didn't have a social media page and you still did an exhibition at the Oxo,
It wouldn't have banged.
You still would have had footfall, no?
Yeah, but rare.
A lot less
I-
than
I-
people
I-
who are
I've seen-
engaged through
Stop
social
doing
media.
that.
No,
dance.
hear me out.
Answer my question.
Yes, hear me out, but hear me out, right? No, I'm saying no, sorry. Hear me out. I went to a few exhibitions prior to my exhibition at the Oxo to pre the space. These people didn't have any social media presence, and there was about 3 people in there.
Zavi.
How are you going to tell me I went there?
Zavi,
What are you talking about?
Zavi,
How you gonna tell me?
Zavi, your exhibition,
I did that.
Zavi, your exhibition wasn't the first exhibition I've been to, bruv. So that's why I'm saying.
No, but I'm saying you're saying Oxo Tower, and I'm saying prior to me having my exhibition.
So you went one day to another exhibition, there were 3 people, and that's your judgment on the whole thing?
No. Hear me out. I went to 3 exhibitions prior to mine, and it wasn't that ram.
People came to
It wasn't-
Zavi's exhibition.
I can't believe what you man are
social
saying.
media presence.
I can't believe what you're saying.
Footfall is a thing, bro. You spoke about footfall a lot.
Yeah, I spoke of football
But
a
people
lot.
would
Exactly.
Why are you
willing to
speaking
walk
about? No,
past
wait.
that,
Why are
No,
you
I was
speaking?
speaking about football a lot, but what I'm trying to tell you is that I went to 3 exhibitions at the Oxford Tower prior to my
What does
exhibition
that
for
mean?
research.
What does that mean?
For
What does
research.
that even mean?
Don't cut me off. Hear me out. Listen, like prior to my exhibition, and they didn't have social media presence, and it just didn't bang. So I'm telling you, if you
let's
want
end this
to
topic by
do,
asking you a simple question. You think in order to have a presence as an artist, you need to have social media? That's what you're saying.
yes.
Okay, cool. We can move on to the next topic.
No. Wait.
Why?
Wait. By the way, guys, this actually all came from how we'll spend 120 million.
Yeah. You man are on some weird little vibe, like where you think that in order to have.
I had to eat shit for getting a box at Tottenham. Xavi had to eat shit for buying flats in other countries. Yet Rich gets to delete his social media, disappear from the world, take pictures of himself, and pretend that people are going to buy them.
Yeah, he's you know what it is? You know what? He's far up his own arse with that 122 million. Yeah, that they're basically
he's coughing out dollars.
Literally, over 120 million, Richard's a god, and basically NFTs will be all over him, and he's gonna have NFTs as a cameraman.
NFTs are gonna buy photos of a fundamentally anonymous man just because.
Yeah.
You guys done?
Yeah, let's move on.
We'll move
All
on.
right, cool. Because you're wrong on this, but it is what it is, right? Like, if you think, I'm
No,
not
we're
going
moving
to
on.
talk to you, man. No, I'm not going to talk to you, man, about this
Richard
further.
is tight.
I'm not tight. I'm just surprised an
His
artist.
hands are everywhere right now.
I'm just surprised an artist
They're
is telling me. I'm
gesticulations.
just surprised that an artist is telling me that the only way for an artist to get any kind of fanfare is to have a social media page. I'm just surprised at that. But we
The
can move on.
majority, yeah.
That's bullshit.
All right.
Because before social media, there was art and artists. So I don't know what we're talking about.
So, but there was no social media then. You need to have some sort of presence. You need to have clout. You need to have awareness. And unfortunately, the main driver of doing that is through the forms of social media. And I'm saying this from research in the NFT space. What's the next topic, Richard?
It's cool. Johnny, AstraZeneca, the vaccine.
Vaccines are fascist. I said this in the last episode, didn't it?
Yeah, you did. You did. So basically, we've had a situation. We didn't want to become the vaccine podcast, but every week something comes up, and we have to dive it into.
Yeah, don't take it if you're young. I guess that's
yeah, we
the
have to
hot
dive
take.
into it. It's important. I'm sure many of you have heard right now that on Wednesday there was recommendation from the vaccine advisors that you shouldn't really be taking the AstraZeneca vaccine if you are under 30 years old, because they are finding a link between this vaccine and an emergence of blood clots on the brain, which are causing some people, it is a small amount of people, to die. 79 people suffered rare blood clots, and they said accompanied by low blood platelet counts, 19 which died. This story is a little bit close to home, not with regards to death, but like somebody in the extended family actually took the vaccine early last week, and then a couple of days later had a stroke. So this is a little bit crazy and a little bit close to home, but essentially that's not the point. The regulator said that this was not proof that there is any real link, but obviously there is growing. We are actually going to come in today and talk about whether or not there is any merit in the vaccine passport, whether or not we agree with it, whether or not it's what we needed to get out of the situation. But that's fine. What are your views on this AstraZeneca debacle and what's been going on?
So it seems like a bit of an overreaction to me. A little bit of an overreaction. So first thing to note is that the blood clots in this study seem to be attributed to low platelet counts, right?
Yeah.
And so there's an inference from that it's the vaccine that gives you a low platelet count that causes the blood clots, right? But actually, if you've got COVID already, then it's the virus that lowers your platelet count, and that makes you susceptible to getting blood clots in the first place. The number of cases that people have had blood clots from the number of people who have had the vaccine is extremely low. The statistical probability of getting blood clots after taking the vaccine is actually lower than people getting blood clots in the general population. And when you compare it to other forms of medication, most notably contraceptive pill, if the barometer of safety was occurrences in blood clots, then we would outlaw the contraceptive pill way before we'd outlaw this.
And I'm glad you brought that up.
So the main reason that we've gotten rid of this virus isn't because it causes blood clots. And that's not what the government said. They said that their risk assessment figured out that the positive, negative balance basically becomes neutral for under 30s, i.e. the vaccine is a lot more effective and has a lot more chance of saving someone's life if they get the virus of people who are 60 than the risk of getting blood clots. Whereas people who take the vaccine under 30 are probably going to survive the virus anyway, but for a constant minimal risk of blood clots, the marginal upside of taking the virus is lower.
Yeah.
So they don't say that this vaccine gives you a blood clot, it's just that the upside of taking it isn't worth the risk.
And clearly this is the reason why the majority of the European vaccination rollout programs, whether it be from France to Germany to Sweden, so on and so forth, have been one of the reasons why they've been slower. Obviously, there's a much wider EU reason as to why things have been slow on the rollout. But
thank God we left.
even within that, there's one positive of Brexit. Even without the AstraZeneca, the EU element, they have been moving away from the idea of giving the AstraZeneca vaccine to a couple of age groups, and this is just another age group to add to that. Johnny touched upon some stats. If you're taking the AstraZeneca jab,
You're not even drinking.
Can't even speak.
You're not even drinking. Fuck, I'm battered.
If you're taking the AstraZeneca jab, the blood clot chances, as we said, are very, very low. It's actually 1 in about 1 million. If you compare that to a couple of other things, so the chance of getting blood clots in women who are not taking hormonal contraception is about 2 in 10,000. The cases of blood clots in women taking combined oral contraceptive pills is between 5 and 12 in 10,000. And women who are plus 6 weeks postnatal are 1 to 2 in 1,000 chances of getting blood clots. Just want to take the opportunity to just say to women that you are appreciated and we love you. Fucking hell. But yeah, like, is it much ado about nothing?
I think
Did the government just need to? Did they need to be transparent about this to protect their back a bit? Because, you know, we were obviously made aware of this, and obviously we were going to be made aware of this, but the message from the government is still just crack on.
Yeah, and the government, something they've not been very clear about, which is important, which is that if you've taken the first dose of AstraZeneca, you should still take the second dose of AstraZeneca. It's not that it's unsafe, it's just that the marginal upside for under 30s is less clear than taking other vaccine alternatives. So were they right to do it? I guess maybe, yeah, but this is kind of how medical science works. The balance of risks change constantly, and people revise their prescriptions constantly.
Yeah.
So it's not to say that this is dangerous, but given the amount of stock that we have in this country, fortunately, it's not really going to make much of a difference to the vaccine rollout program for under 30s to be given Moderna or Pfizer in any case.
Do we have the test results back yet, which confirm whether or not we can do mixing of jabs?
I don't think we can do mixing.
That was being tested, and I think the initial tests were actually positive and that you can.
Okay, cool.
I just don't know if the finalised reports around that have come through.
Yeah, I mean, I'd find it weird.
But that was definitely being tested.
Yeah.
Huh?
I'd find it weird if you could mix jabs.
Why?
Because they're all different, right? They've all got different methodologies, different delivery
I guess so.
practices.
And their own separate issues as well.
Yeah, right.
My
They all
cousin
do
was one
different
of them,
things.
wasn't she? My cousin, she was one of those rare people who got blood clots from the vaccine, and it didn't really end well.
Yeah.
Praying for you, cuz.
Big
So
up.
I think regardless of the low stat or not, I think maybe if you're one of those people who experience it or know somebody who experienced it, it just makes it a bit more scarier. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of
I
course.
think I was leaving this podcast last time we did this, or maybe 2 pods before then, when I found out
One
as soon
before
as I
the
left the yard,
last.
and it was scary. So it's kind of messed up. From a stats to reality sort of thing. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's very minimal, but also there's also a bit of a sample bias in that the majority of people who've had the vaccine today are probably of an age group that are predisposed to blood clotting, i.e. older people, right?
Yeah, she was 19.
Sure. So that's
Yeah.
awful, but it's
My
an
case was
anomaly.
54.
But
Yeah.
wasn't particularly healthy. Is that understood?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say whether or not what the actual cause was, but
Right.
you know, in that specific case, and I don't want to speak too much because I don't know if it's really my place, but it may have been a combination of factors.
I'm just careful of,
But
of us coming on here and being like, it's the vaccine that gives people blood clots, and that's
Yeah,
not
but at
been
the same
proven.
time, on the flip side, you're kind of leaning on it being lifestyle.
Not in the case
at
of
the expense
not in the
of
case
that.
of
Well, yeah,
Sandy's
not in that case, but I think we just kind of have to be open-minded to the reality that maybe it's a combination of factors. Maybe
Blood clots also
there are
happen-
rare cases where it may be a direct link to the jab. It may be other cases where it's a combation of factors.
blood clots also happen for no reason, right? There was a footballer who's an England player, mixed race geezer. Who was it? It wasn't Ryan Bertrand. It was someone else, Jason Punchin or someone else. Basically, they had a pain down their leg one day, and they were like, "Well, what the fuck is that?" Went to the doctor, and they had a blood clot in their thigh.
Yeah.
And that was it. Premier League footballer, right? So blood clots happen.
It's true.
They're very rare and they suck, but they do happen.
Yeah. We're not encouraging or discouraging anybody. Make your own decision. Take a vaccine if you want.
Correct.
What I'm not too keen on at the moment is Instagram getting behind the whole drive for... You know when we went into lockdown initially and it was like... they did like whenever you uploaded a story and you use like the hashtag stay at home.
Yeah.
There'd be like
You
a
get
special little tag.
Yeah, yeah.
Now it's like there's a tag for the vaccine.
Yeah, and
I've just been vaccinated.
And all these bookie like ends meme pages are jumping on it as well.
Yeah, I'm not really sure how I feel about that.
Do you think it's big tech propaganda?
I mean,
is it a little bit big tech propaganda?
Do we need the tags? Like,
You might want to flex, innit?
if you're flexing because you got the vaccine, man, I'm happy for you. If you're happy for yourself, but
Hot boy summer. White boy summer sponsored by Pfizer. What's up?
just keep it to yourself.
Can't
I'll let you guys know. You know, if I take it, like everybody.
Yeah, it's a bit weird. I think it's maybe designed for Americans. I don't think Brits are going to be running out in the street.
How long do you think the conversation of like, oh, which vaccine did you take is going to last?
I don't think it's going to stop, to be honest.
I think it depends which language you end up speaking after the jab.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think that's going to stop, to be honest with you.
What do you mean?
As in, like, which vaccine did you take? I think that's just going to be a ongoing question.
Dead conversation.
Ongoing chat. Yeah, I mean, you're unlikely to do well on Hinge if that's what you're leading with.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised. I've seen like people have in-depth conversations about that or spiraling out of that from which vaccine did you take?
For real?
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't.
Wait, what? Some people are getting laid off vaccine conversations.
That's what's up.
I don't know,
You
man.
look like a Pfizer to me.
No, I'm not saying that it's
Let
like
me be the Astra
I'm
to
not
your
saying it's like
Zeneca.
I'm not saying it's like in conversations to like to get laid or anything. What I'm saying
Gonna put
in
my
general,
Johnson in your Johnson.
Oh my
No,
God.
that doesn't
have
work,
like-
does it?
No
Johnson
way,
in your
bro.
Johnson doesn't work, does
people
it?
just have like
That is not Moderna chat.
These people just have like these long chats about vaccines and stuff. Me, I don't listen, but like
But you've heard. You don't listen, but you've heard.
yeah, after the first like, what do you take? Like, don't give a shit after that. To be honest with you.
I do, like, I'm not going to lie, all this AstraZeneca stuff, wherever there is any doubt that things can go wrong, naturally, I'm kind of just like, yo, bro, like, miss me with that. I'd rather the Pfizer.
Fires me up, but that's been the gold standard from day one, right?
Yeah.
Fires me up.
Yeah. I hear Moderna's over here now, though. I hear Moderna's coming over.
Yeah, is it not here already?
see.
Because at
No,
the
it's
beginning,
coming
we
soon.
were supposed to have like secured all of the different.
Packages.
Yeah, exactly. But the only ones that came through, obviously, were AstraZeneca and then Pfizer. I wasn't expecting Pfizer as early as we got it, but I was expecting.
Yeah, I think we're stacked.
the
I think
Moderna
they
one.
said like even if we just stopped using AstraZeneca,
Do you think this is like a
the rollout
ploy?
by 2 weeks?
As they, because we were going to get the delays. Obviously, we were going to get the shortage.
Yeah.
That was predicted a few weeks ago, and clearly, as we get supplies of other vaccine providers, the Modernas of the world. I don't know if Johnson & Johnson's coming over here. Do you think this is a conspiracy theorist head coming on again? Do you think this is just a not a ploy, but is this like a strategy to move people towards where the supply is going to be coming from?
Yeah, so like I've said, right? Like COVID-19 is a psyop run by the CIA. Vaccines are fascist, and Michael Jackson's still alive. And obviously, this whole
Don't say it. I'll get excited.
this whole fucking
Should I get excited?
this jab thing is basically just a plot that's been invented by the Chinese to de-Westernize Europe and to turn us all into a race of beaters who watch our wives get fucked by the men.
Well, all right. France and hijabs.
The way you ended that, yeah.
Are there questions? Are there comments?
No questions. No questions.
No questions.
Okay, cool.
No further questions, Your Honour.
No, that's right.
France, bruv. Zabi's gonna have to talk to us about his people in a
So
sec.
basically, what they're saying that you can't wear, you basically can have sex at like 13, 15, and then but you can't wear hijabs until
18.
that's just
I'll give the background because
That's just mad.
as Johnny pointed out earlier, this hasn't necessarily got the
Coverage.
it hasn't got the coverage.
no, it's actually very mad.
That
mad
it,
chat, innit?
that it probably deserved. The French Senate has voted in favour of adding an amendment to the so-called separatism bill that would ban girls under the age of 18 from wearing the hijab in public spaces. On the 30th of March, the Senate voted in favour of including the prohibition in the public space of any conspicuous religious sign by minors and of any dress or clothing which would signify an inferiorization of women over men. in a bill officially titled Strengthening the Respect of the Principles of the Republic, which they always hide behind. This has been slammed by critics as overwhelmingly targeting Muslim citizens. You don't say. Now, as we all know, France's relationship with Muslims and the veil has been the veil more specifically has been quite contentious for some time. We've all heard about the burqa bans, the bikini bans, et cetera, et cetera. This is actually getting a little bit further, and this has obviously stemmed from 9/11 and has been there since. So in February 2004, for some background, the National Assembly, which is the lower house of Parliament, began debating a bill to ban religious symbols from schools, which is pretty standard in France, right? Including Muslim headscarves, Jewish skull caps. Have you got one of those?
Do I have a kippah?
Yeah, do you? Why have we never rocked one here?
Yeah, you've never asked me.
Can you rock one here?
Sure.
Thank you.
I've got one.
What?
I've got two actually.
Does it bring you closer to Drake?
Nah.
Oh.
He bought it for the listening
You
party.
Jewish?
Nah, it's been to 2 Jewish weddings. And
Oh.
kept them.
Oh,
It's
okay.
Like wedding
You
souvenirs.
stole them from the wedding.
No, like wedding
Spot the
souvenirs.
What do you mean? They give them to you at the wedding, or
yeah,
did you
you
spot
have
the Jew?
You
You
have
went to give
wear,
them back.
You have to wear it in the synagogue.
Yeah, and you got to give back.
No.
They're recycled. Do you think
Nah,
people
so-
wear for their fucking bar mitzvah?
No, so you basically
You just
have
robbed two
these-
13-year-old children of a party. Hope you feel good about yourself.
No, I said wedding, not bar mitzvah.
Yeah, but they're not occasion specific kippahs, for fuck's sake.
No, they were. They actually were.
We're a people of recycling. Yeah, that's what we do.
No, they were. They had like the bride and the groom's name in the inside of it. So
Yeah,
I
no, I'm
kept
fucking with
it. Oh yeah. But it is, you know what it is, yeah, because like I don't want to be like commenting too much in your religion.
Oh, right.
You know what I mean?
I could tell he was.
It's kind of tight.
He's already an anti-Semite.
He's abusing his position though.
100%.
We've got to take control because he's abusing his position here.
Tell me how to
Like,
express.
we will not
tell
be
me how to-
Y-leads.
Tell me how to express my religion. Fucking hell.
No, the way Johnny views
I find it very anti-Semitic.
Listen, the way Johnny views it,
No comment.
I reckon, like, we need to learn something from him because, like, I think.
Bruv, we've got some of his. Bro, this podcast has been going out every 2 weeks since October. We've incriminated Johnny enough. If he tries a ting, we got him.
Oh yeah,
He says some crazy shit.
You still got them things that weren't edited in, yeah.
Oh yeah, we got all the
yeah,
edits,
good.
bro. This is what he doesn't understand.
Yeah, we're
It's
good.
in the vault.
I don't like the way this is going.
Baby. But yeah, no, this also, getting back to the point, this isn't just a Muslim thing. This isn't just a kippah thing. This is also applies to like Christian crosses or crosses around your neck or necklaces. Prior to
Bullshit.
this,
You're not going to get fucking nicked for wearing a cross, though, are you?
let's be honest. Whoa, you can't say that.
Wow.
This is what I mean. Anyway,
It's like one French passport holder right here.
prior to this, in September 2003, many of Germany's regions.
Also, the anti-Semitic one on the podcast.
Yeah. Anyway,
Nah, I don't know about that. Yo, can you? Let's try and that one out or beep it or something because wow.
so getting to the point,
Coincidence.
this bill has essentially not come into force yet because it is yet to be voted in by the National Assembly. But if this bill is passed, as Zavi said, the age of consent for sex will be lower than the age of consent for wearing the hijab. Women as young as 15 years old have sexual autonomy and agency in France, but they will not have the right to choose a symbol of their religious faith.
Sounds like Sodom and Gomorrah to me. It's just crazy. You have I mean, I'm not a Muslim, so I don't know the core reasons why like a woman will wear hijab as such. However, I just think it's just so it's you're young enough to basically show some sort of indecency, but you're not young enough to sort of protect your decency, you know, just from like the outside looking in. And I just feel like that just basically just screams 2021, 2020, where life is going at the moment and where that could lead to.
I had problems with remember when we spoke about Samuel Paty, the teacher who got killed after doing after showing that Charlie Hebdo picture, right, of Prophet Muhammad. I had a problem, and I don't know if I mentioned it on the podcast, but what happened in the aftermath of it is Emmanuel Macron and his boys essentially closed a nearby mosque in that area, which one of the parents who hugely criticized Samuel Paty worshipped every week. Now, anybody who tells me that like France is a secular country and they're doing everything they can to uphold an originally Christian heritage or a non-religious I'm not able to get some real clarity on what secularism in France really means, because I feel like that line is being blurred with every single one of these stories. If you are able to open a private Jewish school, a private Muslim school, and there is this separation between church and the state, if there are no crimes being committed in a mosque, then why does the government have the power to go in and shut down a mosque? But yet they still allow privatized Jewish schools, privatized Muslim schools, privatized Christian schools. The line is being blurred in such a way which is super uncomfortable, and it doesn't really make a great deal of sense to me, given, as I said, there is no real reason for the law to intervene. And this, for me, no matter how they want to finesse it, this isn't about a market research or a focus group of Muslim women saying, there's nothing in the Quran that says we have to wear this hijab. This isn't about the French being the fucking saviors.
No, it's racism.
Bro, it's not about that. So stop trying to shit on my plate and call it steak.
It's racism.
You know what I mean? Like, it is what it is.
It's racism. But this is nothing new, right? So there's a long history of the French fucking with its Muslim colonies, and then there is a long history of the French fucking with Muslims who came back, and you can argue that there's a long history of the French fucking with the Islamic world back to the fucking Crusades or whatever. There's just a long history of France fucking with Muslims. And unfortunately, its modern manifestation is that it has decided that although it's allegedly a country of liberty and equality and fraternity, actually, if you don't look like us, then you can go and fuck yourself. And it kind of underlines to something that I'm going to fuck this guy's name, and I'm really sorry, but Kehinde Andrews wrote in his new book, Age of New Empire, New Age of Empire, about the basically white supremacist and racist undertones of Enlightenment liberalism, many of its roots.
Mouthful.
Which is rooted in European philosophy, but almost specifically in France in its philosophical context to an extent. But basically, it's a philosophy that, along with liberty, equality, fraternity, explains that the point that he makes is that basically Western cultures and white cultures saw themselves as culturally, if not racially, superior to other cultures, despite the fact that kind of coming out of the Dark Ages, 15, 16, 1700s, actually Europe was significantly further behind the Far East and the Middle East in terms of its mathematical, scientific, cultural achievements. The only reason it caught up was because some prick called Christopher Columbus accidentally found America, found a shit ton of cotton and sugar, enslaved a shit ton of people on the west coast of Africa, and then ran a slave triangle around the three of them. And that amount of money meant that they could go and invade everywhere that was more culturally significant.
Yep.
But this Eurocentric philosophy of enlightenment was predicated on the fact that France and Europe saw itself as culturally superior. And that's manifested itself in the modern day by the end of colonialism and these former colonies coming back to live in France. The former colonial powers are unable to accept these non-home nation citizens as equal to them because they perceive themselves to be culturally superior. So when these Muslims turn up from Algeria or whatever, and they want to wear their hijabs, although there is this well-known motto of liberty, equality, and fraternity, it's underpinned by a social system and a moral philosophy that says, actually, no, you lot need to conform to us because not doing so is to your detriment because we are culturally superior to you. So you need to look like us. And if you don't look like us, then you don't fit in. And so we're going to make you look like us because we either perceive it to be a threat or we perceive you to be substandard or however you want to justify the manifestation. That's its expression.
The justification is the shit that gets me the most, right? Maybe I never want to be a politician, right? I'm not built for that, right? But if I'm bugging, just tell me I'm bugging, right? But if you're Emmanuel Macron and you wanted to say, we are France, we have been targeted more than most European countries post 9/11.
Yeah.
Our terrorist threat level remains at a fairly high level in comparison to our Western European counterparts. Therefore, our surveillance needs to go up. Our security measures need to go up. We can't have people wearing pretty much full face veils. And in order to upkeep the security of our country, we actually need our country to cooperate in not doing much veils, and maybe did it in a way where they spoke to like the senior Muslim leaders from all across the country, got them on board, bought into the idea, right? Wouldn't that make more sense than this fuckery here?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things they could do, right? They could apologize for the atrocities at the end of the colonial era in Algeria,
Yeah,
they could
okay.
apologise for all
So-
the instances of
so even that
police
aside-
brutality. They could apologise,
Of course.
for
But
the
maybe we're going a bit too
mass incarceration
far
of
back on
Algerians
that, though.
in France, etc. So these are all modern phenomena, right?
But this is super
Why do
modern.
kids grow up to do this shit? It's because they're pissed off in the French state. In the same way that,
Of course,
same
but
way
I
black
don't
kids
think.
get pissed off here.
But I don't
at
think.
least,
I think you're
North
talking.
African kids get pissed off in France, right?
I think you're talking more about radicalized people who may have a revenge or a vendetta on their mind against France, who haven't been able to build a loyalty towards France because they've not been integrated into French
These
culture.
kids were born in France, right?
I know,
Yeah.
but I think what you're talking about are those people who maybe have resentment or ill feeling towards France. I'm talking about normal people who love France as much as they love their religion, but are being told that they cannot wear what they want to within their religion, whether or not it's in the Quran or not. My whole thing is wording, language, the way that we speak and the way that we explain things is very, very key in the way that people interpret things. Bikini bans, having police officers aggressively approach you on a beach and having you remove a bikini or leave the beach isn't my idea of constructive, progressive conversations for the future. Macron and all of his boys don't need to come in with a ban on the hijab. What they can do is say, we are at a very, very heightened point, stage in our national security.
Yeah.
In order for us to combat this, we need you to meet us halfway.
Yeah.
We're not saying that we don't accept Muslim culture in our country, but in order for this to work, in order for both sides to win, there's going to need to be of an understanding from both parties. They're not doing that. And when that doesn't happen, when more and more of these cases happen, the more and more I'm just like, I do resort to, I guess, more of a Johnny black and white explanation of it is of it's just fucking racism. But then you'll have people saying, but it's nothing to do with race. It's religion. It's religion.
I kind of
No, I think definitely it's race. Go on.
Well, it's because I kind of reject the premise of your point, because what you're arguing is how can Macron more comfortably word to Muslims that he disagrees with their right to wear a burqa? So you said, don't send coppers in to nick people on beaches, but find a way to get Muslims to meet you halfway.
If there is a decent enough reason.
The point that I want to make is that, firstly, women sunbathing in bikinis has got nothing to do with any form of fundamentalism, terrorism, extremism, whatever, right? It's just a form of covering themselves that they find more decent. But more widely, and speaking in a purely security sense, because we seem to be framing this conversation around the concept of security.
No, it's just one element.
Sure. But if someone's determined to go and shoot up the Bataclan, you banning the burqa isn't going to stop them doing that. They'll just find another fucking disguise to do it. I find it ridiculous, this idea that if we stop people covering their faces, then it's easier to nick terrorists. No, that's not stopping a problem at source. You have to ask why people are being radicalized.
No, but we're not talking about radicalization. I don't think this is that's my point. But
so why ban hijabs?
What I'm saying is, if a country takes the view that is kind of how they want their country to operate for whatever reason, I think the way that you deliver that message is quite key in how people then view.
Okay, how would you peacefully tell Muslim women that wearing a hijab is not
Well, they
acceptable
have
in this
grounds,
country?
mate. That's the point. Like, they have grounds because they can say, and it's not for them to say, because I feel strongly about this, they can say that this isn't something that you are bound to do by the doctrines of your own religion. Okay? That's agreed upon by most people. It's not in the Quran. You don't have to wear it. It's just something that's become more
advised to you. I think the Quran says
I've not
that
read the Quran. I've just spoken to many of my friends.
It's suggested that you may want to.
Exactly. So
women
if you want to take that stance, that because we don't consider it to be a rule based on your doctrine, we don't necessarily want that to become a part of our everyday life because of security reasons. I don't think that that's a very controversial thing to say if you say it in the right way.
I just find it nonsensical. Might
Fair.
be controversial. I just think it's fucking stupid.
But why?
Because, okay, so the base of your argument is that the Quran doesn't say that you have to do it. So we're telling you that you can't do it.
Let's be clear. This isn't my argument.
I understand. No, I understand. But the point that is being made, I'm not going to put your away. The point that is being made is that France's argument should be the Quran doesn't say you have to do it. So we're telling you that you can't do it.
Yeah.
That nonsensical.
And that just cancels that choice as well.
Yeah.
And
the entire premise of the Quran's wording of the wearing of the hijab is that you might want to do it, you should want to do it, and if you want to do it, the option is available to you. This is the example that's laid out.
Yeah, it's not down to the government to then.
It's
remove
then
that
the
choice.
government is then superseding. In fact, might even make the fucking argument that the French government, in its secular liberalism, is being even more prescriptive in its religious ideology than the fucking Quran is.
But then they fall back on the argument that this isn't just a Muslim thing. As I mentioned to you before, it's not just about the headscarf, right? It spans across all religions.
Okay.
So what if that's the argument?
But there's no way.
And that's why
there's no
Either
way.
way, either way,
There's
that
no way
shouldn't
they're
be-
going to be nicking Jews for wearing
No, no.
kippas, right?
I get it. But they can fall back on that argument. But then what?
Then you deconstruct the argument. This is what we're doing. I mean, how many ways do you deconstruct the argument?
If they
before
say
we
that
get
this
down
isn't-
to the
this
fact
isn't
it's just-
targeting
they just
Muslims.
don't like fucking Muslims. They're not going to nick Jews for wearing kippas. Fact. They're not going to nick Christians for wearing crucifixes to church at Easter. Fact. They are going to nick Muslim women walking around wearing hijabs. Deeply distressing for free practicing Muslim women to not be able to wear their hijabs. It's awful. And you can be fucking sure that, you know, if the French went abroad on holiday or whatever and they were fucking told that they weren't allowed to eat cheese in China, they start fucking kicking off, right? So there's like this whole idea of like, you must come here and accept our culture.
When in Rome.
Yeah, I mean, it just doesn't work. And actually, it's also counter to the supposed ideology of secular liberalism. It's just all a complete fallacy. This idea that we're all equal and all cultures should be relatively equal and we should look to assimilate, etc. I've got some premise. I've got some understanding for the premise of cultural identity and national identity. But when your national identity is actually predicated on the invasion of these lands and the conquering and domination of these cultures, then you kind of do need to accept that these people will end up back in your homeland at some point.
Facts.
As French citizens.
I completely agree. And that's where I think the conversation about like radicalization and colonization comes into it. Before that point, I'm literally looking at it just from a standpoint of this is not necessarily a great move.
This
It's an awful move by France, and it's one of many moves that they continually have made in the last near 2 decades.
It's a stay cash version of
But it
you
is.
don't want to fucking come in and you don't like it and you fuck off. Do you know what I mean? Get a fucking scarf off your head in a French accent. Like, what's the difference?
Yeah.
Say it in a French accent.
You can't fucking come here wearing whatever you want. You can't put a fucking scarf on your head. Huh?
How'd you rate that one? Yeah.
That's good.
Well, we can do it in French. We could just cut Rich out of this episode and do it in French.
Do it.
Qu'est-ce que tu veux dire?
Just leave
Tu
it.
peux pas venir ici avec une écharpe dans la tête. Hein?
I understood that, Johnny.
I didn't take it to speak French.
I can't speak French. But I can understand certain things, bro. Innit? I ain't a complete idiot.
Not just a pretty face.
But yeah, as I said, the bill is not coming to force just yet. We are going to hear more. I'm not entirely sure when the actual date is. It's in the coming months.
Solidarity, that's what I was going to say. Solidarity with the Muslims, man. Fuck.
Yeah,
fuck
solidarity,
these people,
right? Like
fucking these people constantly.
we're trying to break down this conversation because I'm banging my head against the wall as to why this. Maybe I'm giving France a bit too much credit.
Well, we know why. It's because the politics.
Maybe I am.
It's because the politics of France is moving to the right, unfortunately, and Marine Le Pen is dangerously close to the Elysee Palace.
Yeah.
She's a lot more friendly faced than her father was, and she gave Macron a lot closer run last time.
Yeah.
Since the last election, the economy's not done too fantastically. Macron's being accused of being aloof.
Sarkozy's on the right now. He's like basically like French Republican.
Well, he's going jail, isn't he? He got suspended
yeah.
sentence. He's
Well,
fucked. He can't do
I
anything.
mean, he won't get inside. Let's be
But the
honest.
point is that it's binary race between Macron because he's bastardized all form. I don't want to turn this into a French politics lecture, but he's bastardized all form of opposition in France. So it's just Macron on one side, and it's just Le Pen as the opposition on the other side. Now that it's a binary choice, since the last election, the economy is going to have been performed worse because of the virus and because of other factors. He's tried to paint himself as the leader of Europe, and that's been unpopular within France. Europe has become more unpopular in France as he's tried to become the leader of it, and he's got this aloof reputation. So this binary choice is now not so clear to be pro-Macron. And so he understands the politics, the Overton window, is shifting to the right. And this move is something that only the far right would have even considered doing 20 years ago. Even an asshole like Jacques Chirac wouldn't have done something like this, right? But because the politics of France is moving to the right, he has to move to the right with it. And that's why he's doing it. It's politics.
Yeah, same old story. We've heard the story before.
Yeah, it's bullshit. Sorry.
Now, if you paid $120 for a pair of Nike Air Force One shoes, you paid more to Nike than it paid in federal income taxes over the past 3 years.
That's right.
While it made $4.1 billion in profits,
Preach it.
and Nike's founder, Phil Knight, became over $23 billion richer. Yes, we must hashtag tax the rich.
That's right.
Big up Bernie Sanders.
Uncle Bernie, he's a mensch.
Bruv, they pay no tax.
It's not
A lot of
just
those,
them, right?
it's not. Yeah, a lot.
Yeah,
a lot
we're
of
talking
them
about
don't.
Nike,
It's
but
crazy.
like, well, go on, bruv.
I don't know. What am I suddenly? Am I the fucking
like-
left-wing political guy on this
because
podcast?
I know you. No, because we almost came on this topic once. We almost spoke about whether or not billionaires should exist. And I know this was a topic that you were like really, really passionate about, Johnny. And clearly, like Nike aren't the only people in this situation not paying taxes, etc.
Bear them.
First of all, like as a consumer, how does that make you feel? Because we all in this place are Air Force One advocates. Born Nike all of our lives. I mean, well, once I graduated from the school of Dunlop and High Tech.
Lonsdale Dons.
Dunlop was lit at one point, though.
Yeah, no, I got it before Dunlop. You're younger than me, so you had Dunlop when Dunlop was somewhat cool. Back in the day when you were wearing, bruv. Back in the day when you were wearing Dunlop to primary school, first phase.
I'm not sure Dunlop was ever cool.
Nah, trust me, it had a moment when hipsters became a thing. For sure.
Oh, fuck.
The double strap.
I was in year 11 then.
Yeah.
So I was like 15, 16.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
But yeah, once I graduated, Air Force Ones and that. Does it make you feel differently as a consumer?
Yeah, I mean, it is fucking shit. It's shit. But I mean, beyond them not even paying, do I really care that they don't pay taxes to America? Not really, because that's products of America's stupid fucking lawmaking. But the worst thing is that they employ awful
76,000
conditions
people
in Bangladesh and
And
Vietnam. and all these countries.
sweatshops is a big part of this as well.
That's fucking horrible. That's fucking horrible. So like, yeah, they should pay tax because it's fucked, and what they do to America, or what they're doing to America by not paying taxes, is awful. Like they're just sucking wealth out of the American economy and not contributing back to it.
I think more from an ethical standpoint, like
It's not my biggest gripe.
Like, what's that?
So it's just not my biggest gripe.
Yeah, like I think from an ethical standpoint, yeah, it's horrible, but at the same time, it doesn't, from like a financial standpoint or just from whether I feel a way that they're not paying it, other than the ethical standpoint of like the sweatshops in Bangladesh and China and Taiwan. I'm not that moved by it because I just know a lot of these large corporations do this already. A lot of wealthy people do it, and or people that have some. When you have a certain X, when you're generating X amount income, you start looking at ways to. It's not tax evasion, or was it tax avoidance, isn't it? And people just find their own processes to do so, and I guess the layer after that, or the hurdle after that, for me, what I don't agree with is the greed aspect of it as to why you don't want to pay corporate tax, or and what it is. But overall, it's like I'm more not fazed by it than, which makes me not that moved by it.
It's just not great that we've become desensitized to it. And we're all guilty here because we all buy shoes from these people that subject people to awful conditions and then don't pay any tax on top of it. We should probably be more cognizant to it. But something that was quite cool that came out this week or last week was the new Treasury Secretary, Janet Yellen, who's former head of the Federal Reserve, came out and said that there should be a global minimum corporate tax.
Yep.
This is the first time something like this has been proposed.
Yeah.
So it's going to be put forward at the next G7 meeting, and it will try and form the basis of some regulatory alliance across the G7 countries so that big companies can't just domicile themselves in tax havens.
Yeah, a smaller percentage of something is better than a larger percentage of nothing. And that's one thing that governments around the world since the beginning of tax evasions and loopholes came about have been avoiding and fighting, is the fact that they have that trade-off of, if I charge the companies way too much, they will essentially just F off somewhere else and offshore everything and get cheap labor elsewhere, which is basically one of the tenets of Donald Trump's campaign, was bringing the jobs back home, right, and making a success of that, and people bought into that, which he didn't necessarily deliver on, but
absolutely not.
He kind of had the right idea, because ultimately the solution, I can't believe I said that, because ultimately one of the solutions beyond tax, as Yellen has kind of proposed, is tied in with that. It's minimum wage as well. It's making sure that workers have proper rights and proper minimum wages. It's making sure that you have anti-competition, antitrust, anti-monopolistic laws that are properly stringent, which means that there is a little bit more of, there are fewer superpowers, there are fewer or more competitors in the spaces such as the Amazons and Nikes of the world and so on and so forth to kind of democratize that whole thing. I can get much bigger and I can speak about like, you know, their corporate social responsibility. We can talk about ESG till the cows come home, but like, yeah, human rights as well. Like we've mentioned sweatshops. If these companies aren't, even if they're not necessarily doing the majority of their labor in this country, if they aren't, they still should be bound by and have to prove that they have human right protections in place wherever they are outsourcing their production.
Yeah, but again, going back to the original point, this whole tax thing is basically just proof that this whole premise of meritocratic capitalism is bullshit, because like we could all make a shit ton of money if we didn't have to pay any fucking taxes and we didn't have to pay people properly for our labor, right? That is effectively what the development of Europe was through the slave trade. We didn't have to pay any fucking taxes, and there was a shit ton of free work coming out of Africa that we shipped over to the Americas. It's not fucking difficult. It doesn't prove that you're some kind of business genius if you've got an unlimited source of labor for fucking no money. It's just jarring. It's jarring. But one thing that has been quite cool to see this week or last couple of weeks is this effort of unionization among Amazon employees. Have you seen anything about this?
No.
So this has been dope. So it's somewhere like in the south of the US, like Texas way. Not big union country down there. Them man like their free markets. And there have been protests because there's been a shit ton of leaks coming out of Amazon about, quite literally, people pissing into bottles in warehouses to maintain their kind of order quotas. Same thing for delivery drivers, shitting in boxes because they've just not got the time to go to the toilet to complete all of their drops for the day. It's extremely common practice for people who work in Amazon warehouses. Yeah, in America and in delivery vans. And people have, there are now efforts to unionize in this one place in the southern US that's got corporate Amazon absolutely fucking rattled because if it spreads wider, then it will be the first instance really where employees organize or are able to organize themselves in this kind of corporate capitalist dream world. Nobody thinks that Biden's a fucking socialist, but he is a bit further to the left than Trump, thankfully, and he might allow the conditions something like this to happen. If you look at what Amazon is, right? You're the equities guy. It's $1 trillion company.
Yeah.
It's got a GDP bigger than most countries. Most countries are not $1 trillion economies, right?
Yep.
But this is. It's also, if you look at the businesses that it runs, probably like it effectively runs as half a security agency. What it does, like the web hosting and the servicing
AWS.
for all kinds of security agencies around the world. It must be one of the most.
They got the government contract, I think, as well.
Right, so it must have one of the highest tech capabilities, one of the greatest surveillance capabilities. It's also a logistics genius by definition. Yeah, it has operations in almost every country. It's $1 trillion company. It's got Jeff Bezos as its president, and it's got various heads of department, which you might call heads of government departments or heads of offices or whatever. It's $1 trillion company. So the idea that the employees or the citizens of Amazon might be able to organize and form a union to protest against this would be an enormous win for labor rights in America, which you would then hope translates to labor rights elsewhere. But Amazon have got an enormous effort fighting against it because I think they realize how serious it is. You guys may remember at the beginning of Obama's presidency, there was this suave-looking white geezer called Jay Carney, who was his press secretary.
Rings a bell.
This guy, surprisingly, honestly, shocker to hear it, but left the Obama administration and is now the communications secretary for
Biden.
Amazon.
Oh,
Amazon.
That's what's up. That's how this works. So he's been out doing the interference, and then there's been all these weirdos on Twitter. Like corporate Amazon have got people who work in the warehouses to like put 2 boxes at the end of their name, and then be like, actually, now working for Amazon's great. I get to use the toilet at least 3 times a day, as if that's like some justification of not being abused at work. But yeah, going back to this original point you were asking about these companies not paying their taxes, they need to pay their taxes, but more than paying their taxes, they need to provide adequate working conditions wherever they are in the world. But you would hope, at least specifically somewhere like America, people would be able to shit on a toilet once or twice or 3 fucking times a day. You're entitled to shit. You're entitled to rub one out at work if you want. Fuck it.
No, I never rub one out at work. Have you ever rubbed one out at work?
I've never rubbed one out at work.
You?
But you are entitled to it.
Come on, bruv.
You are entitled to it.
I know people who have. It's disgusting, bro.
That's mad chat. I would
You
never
need the
do it in
comfort of
office.
your own home.
Of course.
Nice set of headphones.
E45.
No one in the house. E45?
Always.
For everything. You're multi-purpose.
Different types.
Yikes. I moved to Aveeno, by the way. It's
What,
lit.
for the rub?
It's lit. No. It's too you know when creams they lose their lubricants very quickly. Avino's one of them, so it's not good for the old tug. It's not good for it at all, bro. I'll be honest.
This unionization chat went left.
Yeah, whatever. You brought it up. No, but for real, it's super interesting. Like, does it make me feel differently as a consumer? Yes. My overall consuming, I'm trying to actively bring down anyway. It's about sweatshops. It's about fast fashion. It's about all of these different things, which I think are just being ignored and forgotten even in the pandemic year. I think I've covered all of the things that I think companies need to do as solutions. But it's unless companies are held accountable, unless people start boycotting, unless people start hitting the companies where it hurts, these things will remain.
Vote with your wallets.
Vote with your wallets as ever.
Capitalism,
B. Do we want to talk about the friggin' CRED, the Commission on Race and Ethnic Disparity, where they basically said that there's no evidence of institutional racism in the UK,
I'll do this one in
and
30
we are a
seconds.
model of diversity that should be heralded by most countries in the world. Do we want to talk about it?
I'll do it in 30 seconds.
Go on.
So when a report comes out and says that fundamentally Black Caribbeans are more susceptible to underachieving than Black Africans due to cultural reasons.
Socioeconomic, cultural, religious, geography,
But it made
family influence.
So it made a distinction because there's basically said that there's something wrong with the culture in Black communities that makes them more predisposed
Yes.
to underachievement.
Yes.
And then says that there's
Within
no
that.
such thing as structural racism. It's probably bullshit.
Yeah.
It's probably bullshit.
Big up the committee, because a lot of people when this report came out were like, was it just a bunch of like white people writing this thing? No.
It's a very black guy who's
the commission.
who's the head of it.
Yeah, Tony Sewell was the head of it, but if you look at the actual committee in this commission, it was diverse, man. It was diverse, and that's and you
People
look,
got their bag, right?
And look, this is what we're going to see between now and then. Today we're in April. We're sort of approaching mid-April. You'll get this sort of as we approach closer to mid-April. We are approaching 1 year since George Floyd, right? And a lot of what happened in the world, this report, researches into ethnic minority pay gaps, commitments from companies all around the world to tackle and address diversity or any issues that they have within their employment chain with diversity. All of those commitments were made as we approach a year anniversary. I just urge everybody to just start hearkening back, just remembering all of these people who are making these promises and these commitments, and hold them accountable if it turns out that that was just a box tick like this commission's report was. Most companies, most big organizations, regulatory bodies, governments of sort of more westernized, cosmopolitan type countries all went into panic mode when that happened because of the outcry. But what we are unfortunately going to see, and this is evidence of it, is that much of it was a textbook checkbox exercise in gaslighting.
Marketing, right?
We did it. We couldn't prove anything. Let's move on. I urge everybody to ignore that noise. The best thing about this CRED report, I'll be honest, was the reactions to it. For the first time ever, I'll be honest, there wasn't this fake outrage. There wasn't. It was just like...
Literally in black and white, right?
People were literally just like...
This is bullshit.
Are you fucking joking me? Anyway,
Well,
it didn't matter. And I respected that so much because that's kind of the reaction. I think we've spoken about it before. That's kind of the reaction. When we had that conversation about whether or not just like fighting and fucking barking is the best way to approach it.
Yeah.
Right? These are the reactions that I mean. Like we don't need a report. We don't need a report to give 65 grand to a Black Minds Matter. Yeah. We don't need a CRED report for me to do all of the things that I'm doing internally at my employer and so on and so forth. We don't need that. We're going to crack on, bruv. But all this does is just continually heap on the embarrassment associated with our government.
It was ridiculous. Like the Tories just went out like, round up some coloureds to tell us that we're not racist. And report back in a few months, right? And they went and did it, reported back, and then the only black guy that worked for Boris quit.
Yep. He's a friend of a friend, by the way.
Big him up.
Yeah.
But he quit. He was like, "This is bullshit." And then they're like, "No, he didn't quit because of this report."
He was already on his way out.
Well, I'm sure it's Kwanzaa next week. He's probably busy. Right?
That was great. Like, impersonation.
Thank you very much. It's probably busy. But it's just bullshit. It was the maddest chat. It was a report that was, if not overtly racist, then almost explicitly stood to define institutional racism, whilst saying there's nothing to see here. It's the definition of mad chat.
Mad. You know, you got Zabby saying that a lot now.
What, mad chat?
Mad chat,
a lot.
A lot of our catchphrases stick, you know.
Yeah.
People like DM me with like certain amount of local, certain amount of global, baby, mad chat. There's quite a few of them. Quite a few of them stick. It's decent. We need to come up with the next one. Don't force it. It's got to be natural.
But anyway, man, I'm glad that this has come and gone. 24 to 48 hour news cycle means that this CRED report obviously is hurtful to so many people. But in its 258 page glory, didn't really tell us anything about our experience today. In fact, it did the opposite and ignored a lot of our lived experiences. So yeah, it will become toilet paper.
Yeah, or
it will become my toilet paper.
It will keep fireplaces going.
Yep. And it was quite funny because a story came out which I've managed to kind of make a link back to the CRED report, just so you know what's going on. Did you guys hear the story about Thandiwe Newton, like reclaiming her name? Do you know the actress Thandiwe Newton?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Thandiwe Newton is, I think she's half Zimbabwean, right? And her real name is actually Thandiwe.
That's my little cousin's name.
Right?
Well, she ain't so little anymore, but yeah.
And on her very first acting gig, her name was apparently accidentally spelt wrong. So they took out the W out of Thandiwe and it became Thandi. But she basically decided to keep that name.
Roll with it.
So she, this week, basically declared that Thandiwe is my name. It's always been my name. And I'm taking it back. Now, that made my mind harken to all of the stories and all of the statistics that you read, that if your name looks a bit too ethnic on a CV when you're applying for a job, you don't get the role. You often have to anglicize your name in many, many settings to make it more accepting. And this is a woman who is now in her mid-40s to maybe late 40s, early 50s maybe, who at her big age, becoming a millionaire in her own right, finally getting, I guess, back in touch with her identity maybe, decided that she was going to claim that shit back. And the reason why I'm linking this to the CRED report, to the people who say that there's no institutional racism, that we are a beacon of diversity and a model to be behold. She won a BAFTA award in 2006, and a news article or a newspaper wrote an article claiming that she wasn't really British because only one of her parents was white.
But to an extent, right? There's that old joke where you're like, it's very brave of Will Young to come out as gay after he won Pop Idol. Like, how brave is it of Thandiwe Newton to become Thandiwe after she's a multi-millionaire?
Bro, don't get me wrong. I actually wrote this topic down to be quite cynical of it. But then the CRED thing happened and I was just like, maybe I shouldn't be so cynical of it. Maybe I shouldn't. Like, I know what it is like. We all know what it's like to have somebody who has had their very African name taken the piss out of. We know what it's like to have people who are Asian, for example, who have made their names less Asian looking so that they get through the CV or get a recruiter to call them back, or a job interview in the city or whatever. Yeah. So yes, I can be cynical that she's made all of this money and now she's had an epiphany, which happens to a lot of people. Like it's so funny. And I'm the first to be cynical of that stuff when people finally get woke, when they kind of have nothing really to lose, right? But my cynicism stops when you read things like the CRED report, because it's just like, people are forced to make these decisions, unfortunately, because she clearly at that stage in her career, at the very, very start of her career, which, you know, was probably 25 years ago, I can't imagine she was in great company in terms of diversity. So if somebody incorrectly spells your name, but you're seeing that as being a potential entry into an industry that you want to make your career out of, then can I really blame her?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't blame her from a name standpoint. I've seen it happen many, many times. I've seen it happen amongst my friends even.
Yeah, of course.
You know, I don't think it's right. I feel like there's probably
And they don't want to do it.
A level of peer pressure, lack of confidence, and just how the system is set up. You know, if it took her that long to decide she wants to change her name, then fuck it. But at the same time, from the second point you mentioned about her not being potentially eligible to win the BAFTA because she was half, because only her mum's Brit, something like that. That's garbage. That's bull. Because what would then happen with half of the people that we praise to be black UK?
It's just racist chat.
Black UK actors or actresses, and they're first generation British. You know what I mean? Like it's
rubbish.
It's crazy, man.
Big up her. She feels more comfortable.
Yeah, but big up her. I always say
like some martyr cause.
Yeah, exactly. The romantic in me is always just like, it's never too late to change. It's never too late to have that epiphany. It's never too late to get woke. And as long as you haven't been shitting on your people on your way to the top, right? You can always realize at any stage in your life that maybe I could do more to embrace who I am because I'm an inspiration to younger people or people like me who want to make their way up, right? Do you know what I mean? Like, I mean, she could have been Lupita maybe 15 years ago, but Lupita's Lupita, and it is what it is. We move.
It is what it is.
Should we end our topics on the Khloe Kardashian story? Did you man hear that shit?
What's that?
no.
Oh, what? Someone took a picture of her without photoshopping it, and she got upset. She looks alright, man. I did no. Do you know what? No, don't. Fuck the Kardashians. No, we're not doing it.
What, did she look the same?
Bruv, someone took a picture of her and she looked fine. She looked like a normal fucking woman.
Oh
and then
my God.
they went through some whole madness to try and suppress this picture.
It's crazy.
Why? Because
the
there's
power
not been
that they
Photoshop,
wield, bro.
It's
So
mad.
yeah, she's their family
Mad
holiday.
catfish.
Family holiday. Grandma takes a picture of her.
She looks fine.
She looks. Yeah, she just looks like a very curvy, in shape woman.
Yeah, no, fuck this. Fuck the Kardashians. man.
But she had already been uploading pictures from this holiday, and Khloe's pictures were very airbrushed and very photo touched and stuff. So it got leaked. Apparently, one of her assistants accidentally leaked the picture. Internet caught it, and then the Kardashian
How do you
empire.
accidentally leak
You don't
a picture?
accidentally.
That's
yeah,
bullshit.
I mean,
I reckon she probably knew it. This is probably another way. It's been a quiet couple of weeks, fam.
So I'm glad.
It's another
Hold
way
that,
for
hold that thought.
Yeah.
Hold that thought, because I had that as well. They said that the assistant leaked it, and then the Kardashian empire went into meltdown, getting their lawyers and their legal team and so on and so forth. So basically, cease and desist everybody who had been posting this picture. So I'm talking Instagram accounts and Twitter accounts were being shut down because they were sharing this picture.
No, I can't lie though.
What?
There's a difference still.
No, but there is a difference, but it's not.
It looks like a whole. But
she looks
fine.
perfectly
No,
fine.
She looks fine, but it doesn't. Look
But of
like
course it's a
It doesn't
difference.
look like the same human.
No
Of
shit,
course.
because they spent
Which scares me.
4 hours in
This is
Photoshop.
how she should look like. I'm saying.
Yeah, she looks fine. There's nothing wrong
That
with
is
that picture.
mad.
She looks fine.
That's actually mad.
Just leave. Oh, fuck the Kardashians, man. I've got no time for them.
Yeah, so basically she tried to get it removed, and then she did this whole like speech on Instagram, followed by like she had a video which she uploaded.
That's so lame of her.
Yeah, but they're lame, right? We know that. Like she did a video of her basically showing her body. It was like an Instagram live of her showing her body. And then she wrote this whole too long, didn't read type thing, where she basically said, "I'm not gonna lie, it's almost unbearable trying to live up to the impossible standards that the public have all set for me. What the fuck? For over a decade now in photos, every single flaw and imperfection has been microanalyzed and made fun of to the smallest detail, and I am reminded of them every day by the world. You never quite get used to being judged and pulled apart and told how unattractive one is. But I will say, if you hear anything enough, then you start to believe it. This is an example of how I have been conditioned to feel that I am not beautiful enough just being me. I love a good filter, good lighting, and an edit here and there.
Doing this whole statement, really, this
They
is
are
such bullshit.
Shut up, Johnny.
Oh
they are the
God.
same as putting on makeup, getting her nails done, or wearing a pair of heels to present myself to the world the way I want to be seen. And then she goes on to say that, you know, people have said that my dad isn't my dad. All of my sisters are beautiful, but I'm not. Bloody, blah. What she didn't really focus on is the fact that, yes, she works really hard on her body, because there was a bit where she was talking about how hard she works on her body to look like what it does, and she kind of really missed out like how much work she'd been getting along the way, because no amount of gymming has got her those shapes. It's definitely a doctor somewhere in Calabasas. But look, man, this ain't a Kardashian podcast. I feel for her.
Man, just honestly, go to the gym. Don't go to the gym.
I feel for her.
Get
bro.
your surgery.
Am I bugging? I feel for her.
Don't get your surgery.
I feel for her.
I don't feel
Just
for
you
her.
look fine in the picture. Like no fucking wonder.
She's known as the ugly sister. Do you know how deep that is, bro?
Oh, but no
Yeah, but
fucking wonder
she's-
you feel like you
she's the
can't live up
ugly
to a
sister,
standard.
Don't see? Look. You hear him?
I
He's
just
part of the
I
problem.
don't care enough about all of them. Honestly, I don't. But like, no wonder you're gonna get upset if like
Don't care,
if
like-
you constantly tie your personal value to an endlessly photoshopped stream of pictures.
Then that's garbage,
then no
innit?
shit, you're gonna feel depressed about yourself because you're constantly trying to
So,
live up to an impossible
what you're
standard.
trying to say is that the
You're showing a fake you
So
to
what
the
you're
world
saying,
every
so what
day.
you motherfuckers are saying is that the Kardashians aren't human. They don't deserve compassion and love. Is that what you're
That's
saying?
the opposite of what I'm trying to
Over
say.
Photoshop. They can
let's
do
humanize.
something.
Let's humanize the Kardashians, shall we, gentlemen?
Nah. I think it's just
I'm not even sure they're
garbage.
people, to be
Like,
honest.
I just think it's garbage. You're getting upset because the real you got shown.
It would have been
But you're
so
happy.
clutch.
But you
You're
look
happy to show the world the fake you. Fuck all that, man.
I've got no time for it.
It would have been so nice if she would have come out and been like, yes, girls, this is me. I hope you've realized by now, all 136 million of you, that maybe some of the pics you've seen of me over the years
And probably with other women.
aren't
Like,
necessarily a depiction of my reality. I really would have hoped you figured that out by now.
But that probably would have been more refreshing.
But in case you didn't know, this picture that's been leaked, that's definitely me, little girls.
But
okay.
can you imagine like how fucking awful?
how refreshing that is. You know, people like literally go through like anorexia.
This is what I'm
Yeah.
about to say. Can you how awful the experience of women has been trying to live up to these fake beauty standards that these people perpetuate, which are totally impossible because they're driven by Photoshop. The images that these women, this family, put out is not real, and yet they're held up as a beauty standard by this wider media ecosystem and by other Instagram influencers. People end up killing themselves just to try and look like these people, and even they don't look like them. But what
Yeah.
they look like is fine.
Yeah.
However you look is fine. It's not important. Just
you
be
don't have-
happy,
you
be a
don't have
nice
any-
person, join a union.
You don't have any sympathy for Khloe, is that what you're saying? I'm getting a feeling you guys don't have any sympathy for her at all.
I don't have any sympathy for Khloe.
I think like she looks fine. If she has body positivity issues, that's an issue she needs to take up with her doctor. It doesn't need to be between Instagram and anyone else. I hope she seeks happiness.
actually went on-
but I
yeah.
also don't give a shit about the fucking
She
Kardashians.
actually went on
So
Instagram
stupid.
to put a statement out on
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
That's lame.
Wild, bro.
Kim,
Join a fuck.
And you,
Yo,
and
honestly,
to your point before, this is what they do, by the way. You said initially that you don't think it would have been leaked. That was my feeling.
Yeah.
She's almost got that double whammy of one, she's got the attention associated
Her mother
with the,
fed her
with
to
the
the wolves,
picture.
basically.
Well, no, not even. I think that like she's got the double whammy of promo, which is the initial attention, which is associated with the picture going out and it not necessarily being an unflattering picture at all. So people are like, oh, yeah, okay, it's not what we expect, but she looks great. And then the sympathy associated with her statement after. It's a PR double whammy. She's done very well.
I'm not doing this. Fuck the Kardashians, join a union. I'm done.
Well, you don't know what the next
Except-
topic is,
except
Johnny.
Kendall.
So what's the next topic, Johnny? Hey? I'm done, mister, I'm done. What if I want to talk about Kendall now?
Fuck the Kardashians, join a union.
Kendall's all right, though. She keeps herself to herself, innit?
Kendall and Courtney, they're just boring, but yeah.
keep themselves to
They
themselves.
can't be asked. You can tell on their face.
Fuck the Kardashians, join a union.
Which union would you recommend?
Any of them. Whatever you do.
Any Western?
Oh God.
I'm Nigerian, man. We know
I
Western.
was
Union.
gonna say spot the Nigerian in the room, but then I don't.
Oh,
Want to get
were you?
I don't want to get cancelled.
Were you? Yeah. Be careful with that.
No, I didn't quite hear him.
Smack the
Can you
kipper off
speak
his
to the,
head.
can you speak to the microphone, please?
Am I allowed to say that? I don't know. That felt weird to say.
It came with Vim as well. I was like, am I wearing one?
And that might be the reason why this might be your last podcast, guys.
Am I wearing one? All right, so I think we're pretty much done. I'm gonna play out a tune from a group, from a couple of lads that I know. But before I do that, like, anything else, lads? What you guys got on for the rest of the week? Getting out.
I'm getting battered.
in a beer garden.
Oh, I'm getting battered. Oh, Lord.
Finger bangs in a beer garden.
No, finger banging in a park. Can't finger bang in a garden. It's just
In a beer garden.
you can't finger bang in a gear garden. Oh, God.
Bro, people
In
are
a
going to
beer
be
garden.
nuts when they're allowed out of the house. It's been a year inside.
Yeah, finger banging in a
People are
park.
going to be unruly.
Don't
What
be-
are you talking
don't be-
about?
Don't be uncouth about it.
What?
Finger bang in a garden.
I'm just keeping it real, bro.
Finger
I don't
bang
know
in
you.
a park.
It's not going to be me,
Drink in a beer garden.
but, you know, watch your fingers, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to play out a tune called Giddy Bus. Quincy OG, Paul Stefan from the 28 Kings SMF crew. Giddy Giddy Bus Bus is a real banger. So check it out on Spotify or wherever you get your streams. It's a fire tune. Gentlemen, do you have anything to say before we wrap up and say goodbye to the listeners?
We normally say bye.
Yeah.
I mean, don't have to. We could do something different.
Fuck the Kardashians. Join a union.
Y'all see. Mason.
Yay. Giddy Bass, Paul Stefan, Quincy OG.
We can never block this blessing, stop that, block that, not that, never that, bro. If we send love, I must send love back, otherwise your way, I'm sending smoke. But when I got the giddy bass, giddy Mercy in his pocket, get that flow. But when I got the giddy bass, giddy Mercy in his pocket.
We're going to get the instrumental for you to rap to, Johnny.
Block that, not that, never that, bro. It's mad in the dunya, he was my boy, now he's my rival, that's how
Yeah.
it goes. But when I got the giddy bass, giddy Mercy in his
Fuck Kardashians. Join a union.
When I got the giddy bass, giddy Mercy in his pocket. Never been worried about man that tell me they can do something when I know they can't. When I'm on a track label or A&R, all trying to control my art. When I got uncles with details on deck, ain't worried about a PS5. If I get 10 for this move right now, I'ma come up when I get PS5. All right and no, I can never be.
This Could End Terribly, episode 14. See you next time. Big up, big up, big up.